Yes, people, we made it. We did it. We had some technical difficulties, but we made it in. Congratulations to Kai, because he's the streaming master. I am just the peasant host. Nice one, Kai.
I wouldn't say that, mate, because there's always freaking issues when we stream it. That's why I can't stand streaming. I'm not gonna lie.
Mate. It's all right, and once you get there, it's all right, man. Once you get there, it's all right. It's just setting it up is a bit of a pain, isn't it? But yeah, we're in, and thanks for your patience, anyone. Big up Daniel Knight. I can see you're in the chat already. So let's just get straight into it, man. Let's just get straight into it. This week, yes, Devington as well. Yes, Devington as well. We've got the real ones, mate. We've got the real ones. So this last couple of weeks, being a Chelsea fan is akin to trying to set up a stream. It's been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it? So look, we've got loads to get into, man. We've got loads to get into. So first, and before we get into anything, massive big up to Mo from Behind the Dugouts. He's not available to stream tonight, so me and Kai just thought, you know what, we've got a lot to talk about, so we'll just get into it anyway. So this is our very limited version of Mo's much more professional Sunday night stream. So big up Mo in the Blue Lounge and all of those crew. Yes, Jay, talking Chelsea, let's go, mate. Everyone's in. We've got all of the real ones today. So Chelsea, right, we've got a lot to get into. I've got like a little mental list of topics for us to talk about, because it's been a minute. We haven't caught up in a minute about what's been going on.
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Let's just do a little review of so we got the Everton win, obviously, that was really good. But before we get into that, let's talk about the no wins in 5 games, right? So Kai, let's be brutal, man. Be honest. Like your assertion of up until the Everton game, and there's literally so much to talk about, even just with that and what happened afterwards. But give me your assertion of our winless run in 5 games, and who does it go down to, man?
The fact of the matter is, it weren't good enough at all, and it's one of those. Did we blow our load too early with Barcelona and Arsenal, and just went out of steam, and then we just got punished?
Do you know the fact that
next 4 games,
fact that we're even saying blew our load with a draw against Arsenal, like that says a lot in itself, doesn't it?
I know, man, because the Barcelona and Arsenal game, they were good games. We played some good football tactically, players across the board, they were good. Now, I definitely wanted the 3 points for Arsenal. I definitely think we deserved the 3 points, but we got the draw with 10 men. It was always going to be a tough ask.
It was a good draw, man. It was a 0.1 at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then what we witnessed after that, disgusting. From
Leeds,
players,
mate.
From managers, it was horrendous.
Yeah,
and it was difficult to watch, to make videos on. Who do you want to point the finger at? Everybody. Just everyone. It was not good enough, mate, at all.
I did a live stream with Mo and Lewis after, it was either the Leeds or the Bournemouth game, I can't remember, but I did a live stream with Mo and Lewis, and you know, all the fingers were being pointed at the manager, and I was just like, mate, everyone is to blame for that. The players were off it, the manager was off it. Something's gone rotten in the club for the last few games, isn't it? And obviously the Leeds game, horrendous. And then we had the Bournemouth game, and it almost felt worse, actually. Do you know what I mean? I actually was like, I was almost more annoyed by the Bournemouth draw than I was by the Leeds loss. I guess because I didn't see enough of a reaction from the guys in the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Atalanta, where we just literally threw it away, and Maresca is 3 fullbacks in midfield, man, and Malagusto in the 10, like, it's just been tragic, hasn't it?
Look, we'll speak about that a little bit more when we get onto the Everton game, because it's one of those things. It's a footballing thing, but you know, we'll speak about it in a bit.
Let's just before we get too far, let's just address a couple of these comments, man. So Devin, screw all that noise. Who's ready for Mark Yu full 90 on Tuesday? Mark Yu's going to save our season. I love Mark Yu, man, but it's starting to feel like a I don't even know, man. It's just I feel bad for him now, because how are we putting pressure on Mark Yu to be the striker all of a sudden? Couture Criminal, our manager is losing his mind. Don't worry, mate. We are 100% going to be getting onto that. That is going to be a big topic of discussion today for sure. Daniel, I'm getting frustrated with João Pedro up front as something else we can definitely talk about during the stream. And we got Newcastle away and we don't have a record at Great James at St James Park. Sorry, so all really really good stuff. We'll get into the Everton game now. So we've established the run of games was poor. It was awful. There were lots of bad decisions. It was hard to watch. It was hard to be a Chelsea fan. But then things looked like they were turning around, didn't they?
Yeah, the Everton, it was a better performance. We needed to see something that they were going to go in the right direction. Do I think it was a perfect performance? No, it was a professional performance on most parts. Look, Simple. You're never going to control a game 90 minutes. It's impossible. No. Very rare. I mean, Man City back in the heyday when they were just dominating everything, fair enough. But even then, there are spells that teams are going to have a chance. And Everton they just couldn't put anything away. I don't think even if the goal was the length of the pitch on that day, they weren't scoring anything. I could just see it.
I think they were unlucky as well, though, weren't they? Because of the Keenan Dewsbury Hall injury quite early into the game. He's not exactly their talisman, but yeah. And it's one of them, innit? So I think they were quite unlucky with that. But my assertion of the game was the reason I think we did so well is because we played it simple, man. Do you know what I mean? Like Maresca's got this habit of really overcomplicating games sometimes, and we saw that against Atalanta and Leeds and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But with Everton, he put out our strongest starting 11. A bit of inverting into midfield from the fullbacks, but that's fine because that's quite basic for Enzo Maresca. And ultimately, we kept the performance really simple, and I think that's actually why we did really well.
Yeah, and look, with the Atlanta game when we had all the fullbacks in the world on the pitch at the same time, with midfielders sitting on the bench and not even getting a sniff, ridiculous. We've it's quite a big topic. People are always talking about, we don't like this inverted thing. Why do we keep inverting our fullbacks? Play another midfielder, do it that way. Those are the players that are built for these kind of positions. But you look at what Malo Gusto did against Everton, and I'm not saying he's going to do this every game. I wish he could, but it's not going to happen. But there are occasions where you can see why the inversion of the fullback works. I mean, he was playing a pass like a 10. That ball to put Cole Palmer for that goal was a 10 pass. 10's played out, not a right back.
It's really important in the context, though, right? So the context that, I do agree with what you're saying in general. I actually support the inverted fullback, and let's explore this a little bit, right? The inverted fullback. What an inverting fullback means is someone who essentially starts in a fullback position and finds his way into midfield. Yeah. That is very different from putting fullbacks in midfield as their position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think that's quite different because Cucurella is a great example of this. Cucurella will start at left back and find his way into midfield, but often find his way back into left back as well when you're on defence and, do you know what I mean, when things need to change. That is what an inverting fullback is. Putting Malo Gusto in a number 10 position vis-a-vis the Atalanta game, that's not an inverting fullback. That's putting Malo Gusto as the number 10. Vis-a-vis the Everton game in particular, he was able to do that because he was coming from deep. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing, isn't it? It wasn't just sitting in the 10. And I get what you're saying. Like, the pass was a very number 10 kind of pass, 100%. But in order to get into that position, he came from a deeper position. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just being like sitting in
tracked by the defenders if you're coming from deep.
Exactly.
It works well. I'm kind of thinking because he's playing Reece James in midfield basically all the time now. I can't remember the last time I saw Reece James as a right back. Is he now going, well, Reece James can do it, probably Malo Gusto can do it too, or Cucurella can do it. And that
different profiles though, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just looking at the picture.
I get it.
Does he not, like for me with the Atlanta game, 100%, when I saw Gusto come on, I'm like, well, he doesn't trust Santos then.
100%.
But that 100%. Will scream to the player. If I'm thinking it, 100% the player's thinking it, and it's not the best of look. I mean, he got some minutes on the weekend, but when the lineup come out, you're going, why is Santos not in midfield?
Yeah.
And these questions will be asked by the players, and it can cause some problems within the team. And when these players are asked to come on, we wonder why they're not performing to the best of their ability. well, A, they're not getting enough game time, and B, they're probably a bit upset.
It's got to be a mental shot for the likes of Andre Santos as well, isn't it? To be on the bench and to be chasing a game, and to be, instead of you brought on in your natural position where you've played reasonably well, fullbacks keep getting the opportunity. That's got to hurt as an Andre Santos who sat on the bench as well, isn't it? And we've had a couple of comments in, so I'm just going to quickly wrap through them just so we can keep up with everything. Okay, Daniel, Fofana is a top quality defender. I hope he can stay fit because I can't see Tosin and Badiashile not good enough. I think pretty much everyone can agree with that. Trevor Chalobah, for me, isn't even really good enough to be our first team. Look, for instance, if Levi Colwill would it'd be Colwill and Fofana, wasn't it? I'd be happy with Chalobah as a backup. I don't hate Badiashile as a backup either, but I think that there are better options out there. Couture Criminal, Everton didn't respect us and went toe-to-toe with us like Barcelona, PSG, Liverpool and Arsenal. They paid the price. If you play us in an open game, it's advantage Chelsea. That's a fair shout, man. That's a really fair shout. Do you know, an interesting thing about that, we haven't seen much of the low block recently, have we? Which is weird because it was a big problem. And then all of a sudden, this was another point in one of my reviews, the fast start has become the new low block, hasn't it? Now, it didn't work for Everton, but that's what Leeds did. That's what Bournemouth did. That's kind of...
Well, not so much fast start, but they changed their game plan from sitting and soaking up pressure to coming out in the second half and absolutely going for it, and we couldn't handle it. And Leeds was the biggest one because Leeds, for me, were just dominant all over the pitch. And we've been talking for so long, we can't break low blocks. When teams come out at us, that's what we want, and obviously Everton got punished for it. But teams like Bournemouth and Leeds that have come out of us have given us a real problem, and there seems to be no plan B. Like nothing. Like if the team doesn't come out the way that we expect them to come out,
exactly. It's the expectation, 100%. That's a great shout. I was literally just thinking about that. Do you know, the problem as well is the expectation, because Enzo Maresca is a versatile manager. He changes formations, he changes tactics, he tinkers, he changes things quite a lot, but he doesn't seem to be able to do that mid-game. Do you know what I mean? It's like he'll go from playing Malagusto as a shadow striker to a more normal sort of right back, your more typical right back, and then that's how we beat PSG, for instance. But when Wolves go from playing a low block to a high press over half time, he's just like, well, I don't know what to do now. I've prepared for this one idea and I can't change it.
It could be a stubborn thing. It could be. I saw a thing a while back with Pep going, we will always play the way that I've set up to play because that's how we perform at our best and that's how we're going to win games, and I don't want to change it. He's slightly changing now, but he does think the same way. Pep does it over long periods though, doesn't he?
That's the thing. It's like Pep will gradually evolve his team. He won't like game to game be like, I'm going to set up this way for this team and this way for that team. Do you know what I mean? He'll introduce the idea of John Stones playing in midfield, and then he'll do that for a few months. And then once people start figuring that out, he'll slowly evolve into something else. So it's a fair point about, because Pep's obviously quite dogged as well and doesn't really like to change up his thing unless he wants to. But Enzo Maresca's changing game to game, 90 minutes to 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a much harder thing to be able to do successfully, especially like when you haven't got top quality players. Like we've got a lot of top quality players, but the team all round isn't top quality, unfortunately. So a really, really interesting point there. A couple of other comments we've got. Jay from Talking Chelsea, absolutely wicked content creator, by the way, guys. If you haven't already checked out Talking Chelsea's channel, you absolutely should, and his TikTok is popping. Go and check that out. Is fatigue a factor for our most recent performances? Beside heavy rotation, a lot of fans said that barely any rest pre-season, etc., has to affect us at some point. Is that now or later in the season? I'll let you take that one, Kai.
I wouldn't say. I think fatigue for certain players, like for me, Enzo Fernandez looks dead, like running. And I think it might have been you, Matt, that said about how much he's played compared to other midfielders. I could be wrong.
But I've mentioned it before.
Top 3 of minutes played so far this season. But with this rotation and this heavy rotation that Enzo Maresca is doing and is constantly doing,
Mm-hmm.
players should be getting enough rest. And if there are players that are heavily fatigued, so for instance, like Esteval hasn't started any games for like the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So if Pedro Neto is fatigued,
Yeah.
then rotate him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not being rotated, then to me he's not tired.
Yeah.
So he must be fit enough. It's tough, man. I think, but I do agree at some point the lack of rest is going to catch up. I think it's just a bit too early now. I think you'll see it more towards the end of the season than right now.
I'm finding this to be one of the weird things with the way that Enzo Maresca has been rotating the team as well, man, because it's like we rotate the team a lot. Like, so we've got more than 100 changes. It's a league high. So no one has rotated or tinkered with their team more than Enzo Maresca has this season. But also, even though we are rotating the most, Enzo Fernandez can't get a break and Yoro Hato can't get a game. So it's, do you know what I mean? It's like we're rotating all the time.
Caicedo's getting a break is because he got a red card. Other than that, he'd be on the pitch for every game.
Do you know what I mean? And even when Caicedo's not fit, do you know what I mean? Like Caicedo sometimes won't train for a week and he's still playing. So how are we in this crazy juxtapositional position where we are rotating more than anyone, but we're also running our players into the ground and not giving people enough minutes? Like, how do all 3 of those things exist at the same time?
Again, it kind of goes back on the thing that I said about Santos and how he's probably feeling at the moment that he can't get on the pitch, and right back to being put ahead of him. Mate, there are players in there, and Hato could be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say it, but maybe Josh. I mean, for me, Josh Achiampong is been treated like some booty call that he calls up every now and again. But he is probably, after Fofana and Tralaba, based on form, our next best defender.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're throwing Tosun and Badiashile above him. I don't get it at all.
Badiashile I get a little bit more because he's a really good passer and he's left-footed. So I think it's with Badiashile, I think it's more of a profile thing. Like I think that Badiashile is better at that left-sided passing role than Josh Achiampong would be, for instance. So I do understand that, but to play Tosin over Achiampong when all 3 of Achiampong's most recent appearances, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And it was a absolute mental that he got dropped after the Liverpool game anyway. I remember he played the Liverpool game, was amazing. And then like he came off, didn't he? Right towards the end, he just like a little niggle. And then all of it, okay, he missed one game. Okay, yeah, cool, he had a little niggle. Then he missed another game. Then he missed another. And it was like, oh, okay, so we're just not playing Josh Achiampong anymore. I found that absolutely wild, man. But yeah, Tosin's got to go. And let's be honest, we'll just do a quick bit about Tosin. I think Tosin's probably just proven to the world that he's not good enough for this Chelsea team.
I think he was a free transfer. We paid nothing for him, bar his wages.
Yeah.
It's been like players would have learned something from him. He's probably quite a big personality around the dressing room.
Yeah.
And it's something that we probably lack, being that all our players are like fetuses at this point. So it's definitely needed.
I'll pick you up on that. So I actually watched a little bit of a stream that Mo was on with Footy Judge Mo, and a really, really good point was made about this, and it was something I hadn't ever really considered before. But we do always talk about experience, right? Experience being the issue. So 2 things. One thing that Maresca said that I do agree with is experience is only an issue when we lose. No one's ever talking about how young the team is when we're beating Barcelona and drawing with Arsenal when we're down a man.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Say nothing then.
No. The other thing is to say there's not experience in the first team is actually a barefaced lie. And to say that all of our players are kids is also, I mean, they are young, but they're experienced. So we look at João Pedro.
In terms of age, they are, you know, in terms of like, based
less
on
so.
like a... Yeah, go on. So obviously you got Reece James. I'm not going to go through every single player. But
no, but Reece James, years of Premier League experience. Pedro Neto, years of Premier League experience. João Pedro, years of Premier League experience. Moises Caicedo, years of Premier League experience. Marco Correa, years of Premier League experience. So this actual conversation, it's not something that I can actually wholeheartedly support anymore. Is this idea that our team is really inexperienced? Yes, it's young, but those players that were 21, 22 are all 23, 24 now. Do you know what I mean? So they're getting into that kind of mid-period just before their prime as well.
I think we've kind of got to get over this using the youngness as an excuse. But in terms of age,
Yeah.
There are quite a lot of youngsters, and it's not like we're stopping, are we? Because we've just gone out and bought another 16-year-old.
Yeah, another 16-year-old for an
like
African player.
So in terms of like age, physical age of the player, not experience in football, whatever, there are a lot of youngsters, but there is a lot of experience within quite a few of our players, especially in the starting lineup. But the biggest thing for me is so Cucurella, we know, needs a break.
Yeah.
And as fans, it's really hard to not, but when Hato comes in, we want him and expect him to play exactly the same and put exactly the same shifts as Cucurella has. Otherwise, we're going to have problems down that left side. The fact of the matter is he's not playing enough to be able to do that. So I expect when Hato does come back in, which probably will be for the Cardiff game, he's probably not going to have the best of games, because when last did he actually get on the pitch?
And he played a lot last season as well, man. He played so much for Ajax last season. He got like 6 assists in the whole season as well. So it's and he's 19. Do you know what I mean? He's 19. It's the same thing with Philip Jorgensen, isn't it? It's like Philip Jorgensen is not good enough to be in our team, but I actually don't blame him for that, because he's too young to be a backup goalkeeper. He's got too much development to do to be a backup goalkeeper. And in the respect of Yoru Hato, when you've got a Mark Cucurella in front of you who doesn't seem to ever get tired. Do you know what I mean? No. Mark Cucurella is just an absolute engine, and he just goes and goes and goes and goes. I do worry about Yoru Hato, because we've had a reasonable investment in him. It was like 45 mil, wasn't it? We paid for Yoru Hato. And I am a little bit concerned. I'm like, he's going to be sat there like, why am I never getting on? Do you know what I mean? Like, why am I literally never getting to play? It doesn't make any sense.
At the end of games, to see games out to nothing when we're winning comfortably, which is a rare occasion, but there are times, like for Everton, I did think we were comfortable on the most part, especially when we went 2-0 up, but he's not even getting on the pitch then.
And sometimes Maresca doesn't even use all 5 subs, does he?
No. So where are they going to get this experience from? Where are they going to get this match readiness from? But then we're going to throw them in from the start after like 6 weeks of not playing a single minute, and then expect them to produce magical performances. It doesn't work like that. That's why, we talk about consistency and having players play consistently. This goes the same for the subs that you're going to use. They need to be seeing consistent minutes, because at the moment he is our only backup left back, which doesn't get any minutes. So surely at some point, one of these games, he should have got on the pitch to pick up some form. So
I'm going to go for a couple of other. Completely agree with you, and some of these will back off of this kind of conversation that we're having. So Couture Criminal says, I think Achiampong, George, Antwi and Walsh should all get minutes versus Cardiff. So this is interesting, because we're talking about rotation in young players at the moment. Now, I half agree. I think Achiampong will start. I think Achiampong will get a game as centre-back. George, I don't think he's going to play. I think George is going to leave. I think George has come out and said, I want to leave. I think Jamie Gittins will start that game. So I'm not sure about that. Has he been on the
bench recently? I don't think he has, George.
Not very much, no. He's not been about for a little while now, man. I think that he's made it quite clear that he wants to leave in January. And you know what? He should. I don't even that's fair enough, man. He, that move to Fulham would have been really good for him. At the end of the day, the good thing for us is I think he's only risen his stock, really, in the grand scheme of things. So we were looking at 22 mil before to Fulham, and maybe now we're looking at like 25, 26 sort of thing, because he's come in and he's got goals in important moments and stuff, and he's randomly the best finisher we've got in the squad. But no, I don't think George. As far as Genesis Antwi and Reggie Walsh, I could see them maybe getting subbed on if we're winning. But I think, if I'm honest, right now, I don't think is a good time to be throwing academy players in. Even if we're comfortable in a game or whatever, we need to be getting wins at the moment. Do you know what I mean? If we were in a
way this season is going, we cannot afford to throw any competition away.
Agreed.
And we're gonna, I think we will struggle, because I can see Maresca making a minimum of about 7 changes for this game. Up against Cardiff, minimum.
Almost definitely.
And that in itself is going to bring its own problems. But then if you throw in about 5-6 youngsters from the academy, not even the likes of Josh Achiampong that have been playing quite regularly in the first team, it's going to make it even worse. I do want to see them.
Yeah, same.
100%. But I don't think we've got to completely start a whole. I don't think
there's too much water under the bridge now, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
if we were in a position where we'd won all of these games that we were supposed to have been winning, our league position was better, our Champions League position was better. Like, for instance, Paphos might have been a really good opportunity for some of these guys to go. Like, Reggie Welsh came on in the Ajax game, didn't he, and got some minutes in the Ajax game. Paphos would have been a really great game, like the Ajax game, for some of these guys to come on and get some minutes. But now, because we lost against Atalanta, these games are absolutely must win and no risks can be taken. Because Napoli's now a must win. That's terrifying, by the way.
Yeah.
Napoli was like the one game that we could afford to not get 3 points out of, really, because ultimately, as far as the Champions League goes, we realistically need to finish in this top 8 because we can't afford more games, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's going to be so difficult if we end up getting more games with how tired everyone is. And even now, like I say, Paphos should have been a free shot, essentially. And maybe you can afford to bring on a Genesis Antwi or a Reggie Walsh in that game, because this is literally their first year in the Champions League. Cypriot team very rarely get in. I don't think they're having a particularly good campaign so far, but can't risk it anymore, man. There's no more. There's kind of no more room at the inn for errors anymore, is there? That's the thing. Right, we've had a load of other comments come in, guys. By the way, if you haven't liked the stream, please give us a little click. It will get us out to more people and get more other people to come in and chat Chelsea with us, man. So if you haven't already, give it a little like. And if anyone wants to tell me how many likes were already on in the stream, that'd be cool. So let's have a little look. So Omar, yes, big up Omar, absolute legend. Why is Santos, Josh, or Hato getting more playing time? I think he means why are they not? We are running Cucurella and Enzo Fernandez into the ground. So yeah, we've just like covered a lot of that, haven't we? But yeah, no, really good point, Omar. Completely agree. It's like I said, the absolute mad thing for me is we change our team more than anyone, but at the same time, we also run players into the ground and people still aren't getting minutes. Like, it just blows my absolute mind. Nah. Daniel, for next transfer window, I think keep strengthen defence, and I would keep Chalobah and Fofana and Colwill and sell Tosin and Badiashile for profit. You'll sell Tosin for profit. You probably won't get any profit out of Badiashile because I don't think no one's going to pay. You know, if we'd have to sell him for like 30-35 mil, I think, wouldn't we, to make some sort of profit on him. Couture Criminal, I know we did that one already. I will play Josh against Cardiff City in the League Cup from Daniel. Yeah, talking Chelsea, I really appreciate the kind words. Means a lot. No worries, man. Absolute pleasure. We all got to support each other, content creators, haven't we? And your channel is particularly 100%. Good, so. Yeah, it's an easy one. Right, Jay again. Oh, God, loads of comments. Reece, Caicedo, João Pedro, Palmer, Chalobah, Enzo, Cuckoo, Nacho, Neto are all experienced, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's kind of harkening back to what we were saying before. Yeah. And look, how many players is that, man? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. There's 10 players there that we could deem as experienced. So, yeah, that kind of puts to bed the Chelsea. Young, yes, we can have the conversation about young. But we are experienced, and experienced is more important than age, I think, in the grand scheme of things. The core from Omar, the core of the club has experience. Reece, Moy, Fernandez, Cucurella, Palmer, and Bobby O. Sanchez. Yeah, Sanchez as well, man. Yeah, that's a great shout. Yeah, Sanchez is definitely, he's kind of got about four.
Talk a bit about Sanchez in a bit as well.
Yeah, we'll get on to Sanchez, man. Oh, yeah. Mate, I'm flip-flopping so hard this season, man. Things that I absolutely thought were just like grounded opinions in my brain are just changing recently. There's so much to go through. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people talking about the experience stuff. Omar, should Gittins get a run on the left side after that Garnacho performance? I'm going to put a quick one in for this, and then I'd like to see what you think, Kai. So Garnacho had a low-rated performance, again, because he missed chances, right? But in terms of his development, I don't see that as a terrible thing because he's getting chances. So it's part of development, isn't it? Like, if you're not getting chances, you're not missing any. Therefore, your rating will be less affected by it. Do you know what I mean? So if you miss 3 chances, is that better or worse than getting none? Do you know what I mean? So the way I see that with Garnacho is, although he didn't put any away, the fact that he kept on getting into those positions quite frequently, I thought was actually a promising sign, because if he can learn to calm it a little bit and start putting those away, then he could, in my eyes, walking the line between getting into that next level. What do you think about that in the Garnacho situation?
It's just two perspectives. The fan perspective, he's not scoring.
Yeah.
He's wasting opportunities. The coaching perspective, he's getting in those positions. Yeah. He's getting in scoring positions. He's staying on side in scoring positions. That is important from a coaching perspective, because as long as the player is, we talk about like making the right pass, like the idea was right. He's had the right vision. He's just not executed it correctly. Garnacho's making the right runs. He's getting into the right positions. His execution is not poor. It is poor. Now, obviously, you don't want to hear that as fans, because we're Chelsea Football Club at the end of the day. We want to be fighting for top honours. We expect our players, when they're in those positions, to put the ball in the back of the net. But it is important for us to have these players that are going to get into positions, because there will come a time where it will click and he'll start scoring them. And that is what, because it's not the first game. He's made these kind of runs in many a games. He's been in these positions many times. The only one that I'm going to say I put down on him, and it's not good enough, is the one that I think he intercepted the ball, went round the goalkeeper, missed an open net. That, you've got to be putting that in the net. It's open. I know the player came in, maybe put him off a little bit. I'm sorry. That one you have to. But in terms of what he does off the ball, I think he's getting better. I think he's getting a little bit more physically stronger. He's being able to hold himself up. For me, when I see Garnacho, when he's getting the ball and he's looking to go 1v1 against the winger, 9 times out of 10, he's losing that if he's having to dribble past them. But if when he's running in behind, that's when he looks at his best. When we're playing those balls over the top to him. And
he's getting physically beaten off quite a lot. He's physically beaten off the ball quite a lot, isn't he? Yeah, definitely. So in terms of like the rest of that question, do you think that Jamie Gittins should be getting the chance over him? At the moment, for me, like I look at them differently. I still think Garnacho is ahead of Jamie Gittins for me, and I think Jamie Gittins has proven he offers more of a creative outlet. Like those inside crosses that he makes, right? Like, you know, they're looking really good. But I think that if you bench Garnacho for missing these chances over these few games, then he might lose that momentum to keep getting into those positions, which he needs to do in order to learn how to keep his cool and put him in the back of the net. So personally, I wouldn't bench Garnacho for Jamie Gittins at the moment because he's missing chances. I would at least give him a few more games, because it was like with Nicholas Jackson, we didn't start complaining about Nicholas Jackson missing chances until 3-4 months in. Do you know what I mean? When he'd missed a huge amount of them, not just from one game. So for me, if Garnacho gets another 2 or 3 opportunities to play 90 minutes, gets more chances like that and misses them, then I think that's when we start having the conversation.
Yeah, I think, and I've said this quite a lot in the past, like consistency with your team selection is going to be important, especially in the league. Like in the league, you don't want to be chopping and changing your team every single game. And the wingers are not going to be able to build up form, to build up chemistry with the players around them and build up momentum if they're playing one game and they're getting taken off for the next league game. So for me, I still put Garnacho above Gittins on that left-hand side. Of course, there's another way you can do it with Pedro Neto and Esteval, but at the moment, I think Pedro Neto and Garnacho are probably the best suited right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Being that Esteval's had a good run, but then he went like 3 or 4 games where he wasn't, and he needed a little bit of time out. I think what teams were starting to do is they were starting to attack him and put players on him, and that's obviously going to happen. We've seen what they did to Cole Palmer last season. You know, that's what teams were going to do, and it's not going to take teams long to switch on to the likes of Esteval. So I do expect him to come back into the forefront again. But
I think when Cole Palmer's fitter, I think Cole Palmer being fitter and back in better form is going to create a platform for Esteval to do really, really well, because all of a sudden you're not going to have enough players to put 3 men on Cole Palmer and 3 men on Esteval Willian. So I think that when, you know, it's going to take a little while for that to happen, but I don't think we're really going to see the best out of Esteval Willian until we can split the defenders' kind of vision a little bit.
Cole Palmer is going to unlock a lot of doors in the attacking line when
for sure,
because teams are going to sit on him again. They don't have to right now, and Everton are probably kicking themselves because they should have done. But because he's not fully fit, and they know he's not going to be playing the entirety of the game. He's going to be playing bit parts,
60 minutes,
probably till the end of January. Like the minimum. But as soon as it changes, and we've got Cole Palmer, Esteval, we've talked about João Pedro maybe finding his form again when Palmer, it's going to make teams go, well, who do we mark? Who do we try and isolate?
The worry about that, though, the massive worry about that is, even though maybe all of the onus doesn't come back to Cole Palmer in order to be the guy scoring all the goals, that does ostensibly still mean that we are Cole Palmer FC, though, doesn't it? Which is something we've kind of tried to get away from.
Yeah, but I think you've in every team, you're always going to have this one big player. You look at Arsenal, and yes, they've got loads of good players dotted around, but when you talk about Arsenal, they go Saka.
Yeah.
City, Haaland.
Yeah.
Even back in the day, Chelsea, Hazard. There was always that one just massive shining star.
Yeah.
And Cole Palmer is that for us. Now like every team, we've got loads of other like shining stars dotted around, but there's always one.
Yeah.
So the last 2 seasons, we were 100% Palmer FC. There's no shadow of doubt. We've got the potential to move away from that, and we've seen it. Last season when we lost Palmer for a little bit, we absolutely capitulated. We were struggling big time. Even if it was a couple of games. This season, we've managed to cope to a point, not massively, but to a point without him, which is it's a step in the right direction, that if he is injured or needs some rest, we can potentially cope 5-6 games without him.
Yeah, interesting. Just to add to that, I'm jumping ahead in the comments a little bit. I'll go back in a minute. But Couture Criminal has just said we are more Caicedo FC now.
Right now, yeah. It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts. And the same thing's happened, doesn't it? Like, we lose Caicedo, and then all of a sudden everything falls to pieces. And even in the Atalanta game, like, he played the Atalanta game and it still wasn't enough. Do you know what I mean? So that was a bit of a worry in itself. Right, we'll go back a couple of comments now. Interesting one again from Omar. Do you think that rotation is better suited for the UCL Cup runs, and in the Prem we should have a starting 11 without much rotation?
Yeah, it's pretty. I think the Prem is where you've got to have your main 11 pretty much every game, because you need consistency. It's a long season. With cup runs, Champions League, maybe I'd put in the same category, just because of the caliber of teams you're going to be coming up against majority of the time, especially in like the round 16s onwards, if you make it there. But for cup runs, 100% rotate to a point, not go overboard. But for the league,
so would you, for instance, have put our first 11 out against Leeds?
Yes, 100%. I wouldn't. Okay. I would have kept it strongest back line, strongest midfield.
Maybe tinker with the attack a little bit.
Caicedo, obviously, because he wasn't available.
I mean, our strongest starting 11 without Caicedo is Reece James in midfield, isn't it? At the end of the day, but yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. No, I do agree with that. Actually, I actually, when I did the match preview, I expected more rotation than we got, just based on how much rotation I've seen from Enzo Maresca. I was actually surprised that we went into that Leeds game with half of our starting 11 still in it, but that still obviously wasn't enough. Do you know what I mean? And they really took us by surprise. Omar and Daniel telling us we got 10 likes. Thank you very much for letting us know, guys. Much appreciate it. And guys, if none of you have, just give it a little clickerson. Jay from Talking Chelsea. I thought Garnacho played well, just didn't take his chances. Him and Gittins, in my opinion, are just as good as each other right now. So that's an interesting. I do see it. I guess, like I kind of hit on it earlier, didn't I? Like, Jamie Gittins is evidently more of a creative player for us right now, not necessarily in general, and their profiles dictate they can both do those things, but just in terms of what we're seeing, Garnacho seems to be trying to get a goal more, and Jamie Gittins is. The thing is, though, with Jamie Gittins in particular, sometimes he is just not there. I find, and do you know, like, I can't even remember which game it was now. But there was one where a whole half he was awful, and then in the second half he got an assist. And look, maybe it was the Burnley game, actually, I can't remember. But it's just like, I've seen Jamie Gittins several times just not be able to get past his man and just get, just muscled off the ball completely. And I don't know, I get a bit more lethargic watching Jamie Gittins sometimes than I do Garnacho, but I think that's probably just because Garnacho tries for goal more often, so maybe it's just a bit more of an exciting player to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the right word to describe Garnacho, because he's got something different mentally, and
he's
I'm not
a bit more boisterous, isn't he?
he's like, there's clearly an arrogance there. There's clearly he thinks the world of himself, and as an attacker, you have to have a bit of that.
Yeah,
and that's
agreed.
why we see him.
Madueke had that.
Yeah, that's why we see him so pissed off when he comes off the pitch. That's why he's attempting the shots. And I find he's a lot more confident in his ability. When I look at Gittins, if he's been on 5-10 minutes and he's not beating his man or anything like that, his head drops and he looks miserable. Garnacho only looks miserable when you're taking him off, but he's constantly going at it. He's constantly trying for a shot. The amount of times he gets the ball on that right-hand side, if he's not cutting it back, for someone running into the box, he is cutting into the right side of the box and trying to get a shot away. And he does it all the time. And I like the confidence. I like that from a player, that he tries to make things happen. He tries to take the team on his back and go, I'm going to try and win it. Now, obviously, the execution is not going down well. He's not doing it at a point, but similar to, was it Karabag, where we were having an absolute stinker of a first half, and then he come on second half. Yeah. And within 5 minutes, he was burst down the ring and absolutely slamming the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. I think you're going to get that with Garnacho. I don't think you'll get that with Gittins at the moment. I think his is a lot. He needs more confidence.
I think from the perspective of the two players as well, like, even though he's English, Jamie Gittins is a Bundesliga player. Garnacho has a few years of Prem experience, so that in itself means that they're dealing with very different mental things, right? Even rather than just the tactical and the technical. Jamie Gittins is acclimatizing to Premier League football, because we've seen it before. No one knows better than Chelsea fans about how Bundesliga players can come in and struggle sometimes. And Jamie Gittins, I think Jamie Gittins is struggling with a little bit of that, whereas Garnacho, I don't know what it is, man. I almost think sometimes he's trying a little bit too hard. Like, do you know when he missed that open net, like you were talking about the other day? That's trying too. You're trying too hard at that point, aren't you? Because you haven't just gone, what's the simplest thing I can do to get a goal in this moment? You know what I mean? You're trying too hard. You've got too much energy. You've a bit too much. And maybe it's
another
just because
factor in it, mate.
Yeah, go on.
Is also, and as fans, we'll never know this because this is what's going on. Is how receptive are the players to the tactical information that Maresca is giving them? Yeah, that's true. Is Gittins not getting the full information, not being able to implement it on the pitch of what he's being asked to do? But Garnacho is, and that's why we see Garnacho more than we see Gittins. And again, you will never know that. Someone will have to ask Maresca that in the press conference, and even then, I don't think he'd tell you. But that could be a part of the reason as well. Tactical information, how players receive it. Again, they're both quite young, but maybe Garnacho is a little bit more receptive to the information that he's been given.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's a really good shout, actually, because it's the one thing that we, for as much speculation and conversation as football fans can have about it, the one thing we almost very rarely consider is what players look like in training. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously we don't get to see so much of the actual things that make the manager think, right, I'm going to play you. So even though we can look at the stats and technical ability of a certain player, and maybe one player looks like he suits a position much more, at the end of the day, it's like Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto is probably a really good example of this. We keep seeing Malo Gusto put in midfield, and we are like, as sofa managers, we're like, why is Andre Santos not getting more of a shot? But at the end of the day, Malo Gusto is obviously turning up in training every single day, doing whatever he is being asked to do, and that includes playing 7 or 8 different positions across the pitch at the drop of a hat as well. Malo Gusto feels a bit like the teacher's pet, doesn't he? Because he keeps getting opportunities.
He's definitely coming into training with an apple, mate. Popping it on the rest of his desk. 100%. I can see it. Here you go, sir. Apple. I can picture it.
Yeah, man. No. It's a really good shout. Right. So before we'll move on to Sanchez in a minute, and then we'll talk about Maresca's post Everton comments, because there's a lot to get into there. There's a whole lot to get into. There's been shortlists and everything, man. It's all popping off. So before we get into that, we're going to jump really forward into the future with a comment from Daniel Knight here. What about Quenda linking up with Cole Palmer next season? So I have a little bit of expertise on this at the moment, because I don't know if any of you guys remember, I last week did a video comparing Estevao and Giovanni Quenda. So the first thing to point out about Giovanni Quenda is he is currently injured for 2 months. He's been sidelined with an injury for 2 months. That is a weirdly sort of good and bad thing, because obviously he's not going to get as much game time, but what he's choosing to do during his rehabilitation is come to London and start integrating into the squad and to get familiar with the club and the training ground and the coaching staff and stuff. So I love the fact that Giovanni Quenda is injured, which will be devastating for him because he's having a phenomenal season. 5 goals and 6 assists in 19 appearances, I think, across the Cup, League and Champions League. But what he's chosen to do, instead of just recovering in Sporting, he's chosen to come to Chelsea, and that shows you that his mind is fully focused on being here next season and building his way into the team. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very excited about that. So the thing that's got me excited about Giovanni Quenda is arguably he's actually having a better season than Esteban Willian is, albeit he's been given more opportunities, I think. So he's basically played a similar amount of games, but has featured for more minutes. So he's starting more games than Esteban Willian is, which tells you that he's not just a bit part player for Sporting. He's actually a functional part of their starting 11. The other really interesting thing, he's a much more, and now obviously we're going to get into the Maresca stuff in a minute, but as far as a Maresca winger goes, Quenda fits the bill much better than Esteban Willian does. Quenda is a lot much more like Neto than he is like Esteban Willian or Cole Palmer. Do you know what I mean? He's a left-footed right winger, but he's a wide creator. And creating is generally, although he's recently popped in a few more goals, he's knocking the assists out of the park this season, man. So I'm really excited to see Quenda in the team. The one thing that concerns me about it is what happens to Pedro Neto. I think that there is a conversation to be had about, unless, because you remember, like, there's still the backup centre attacking spot still needs filling. Unless Esteban Willian moves into that centre attacking role on a more concurrent basis, we're going to have Esteban Willian, Giovanni Quenda and Pedro Neto all for that right wing. Someone is going to be unhappy. And if you're going to sell any of those three, it's Pedro Neto, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Unless he sticks someone out on loan.
Esteban
now,
Quenda.
The thing, right? So I noticed something, and it was not so much Maresca, it's come more from the fan base.
Yeah.
So there were obviously Esteban come on the weekend, and there was an instance where he picked up the ball, he got caught trying to do a little trick, got caught in possession, and Everton countered. It was dangerous. Nothing come of it in the end, but it was highlighted by pretty much everyone, majority everyone, saying, you know, why is he doing this? He shouldn't be doing this. He's causing problems for the team. Not Maresca. Esteban has something that 99% of our players don't have, is flair.
Yeah.
A bit of magic. I do not want that to be taken away from him. And he will do things like that in a game, which is going to frustrate you and it's going to annoy you, but he will do those. And one time it's going to come off and it's going to be magical, because I can see that being coached out of him. I'm slightly nervous because Maresca, he's got a certain tactical way that he wants things set up, a certain tactical way that we've seen. If we look at, say, Garnacho and Pedro Neto, for instance, because they played majority of that game, he's got them up and down, like more defensive wingers than actually attacking wingers.
Yeah, for sure.
Esteban is a completely different mold. He's an attacking winger, not so much on a defensive side.
He's more of an attacking midfielder, really, isn't he? Because he's always trying to get inside for the most part.
And I don't know how you feel about it. I'm slightly nervous that Maresca is going to try and coach that out of him, and I don't want him to coach that, because I want to see that from players. That's what you pay your money for, but that's also the kind of thing that's going to unlock tough to beat teams, that's going to unlock low blocks. I don't want that to disappear.
Yeah, no, it's not something I've been super concerned about, actually, but I do see what you're saying, because ultimately we saw the same kind of thing with Cole Palmer, didn't we? Cole Palmer had a magical season under Pochettino where he was given a lot of freedom, and then all of a sudden he is a system guy. And it's the same thing that Pep did to Jack Grealish as well, isn't it? at the end of the day. Another player that was absolutely full of magic and then had to become assistant player. So there is definitely a worry there. And you know what? The board won't want that. The board will definitely not want them to coach the magic out of all of these players that they're buying. I just want to respond to a couple of these comments here so I can clarify something. So a lot of people have said, obviously I mentioned about Pedro Neto getting sold. So a lot of people have said Pedro Neto can play on the left. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, 100% he can. But the thing to bear in mind from the team build, so this isn't my opinion what I want to happen. I think Pedro Neto is absolutely fantastic, and I desperately don't want to see him go anywhere. I think he's brilliant, and for me, he's currently one of our undroppables. We haven't bought any left-footed left wingers for the last 10 years, if not more. Do you know what I mean? So as far as a profile of player to play on the left that the managers ideally want, putting a player that's left-footed out on the left wing is plugging a hole rather than, putting a piece in the puzzle at the end of the day. So the thing is, we've spent all this money on Garnacho, we've spent all this money on Jamie Gittins. They are going to be pushed to be given those shots. The reason I worry about Neto, so the thing is, my answer to this is if Esteval spends more time playing in the centre of attack, then I don't think it'll be a problem. I think you keep Neto, you have Quenda as his backup, Esteval and Cole Palmer rotate in the number 10, and everything's great, and they can all dip and change with each other. Do you know what I mean? It's all gravy. But if we buy another centre attacker and we end up with those three right wingers on the right wing, the reason that Neto is the one that gets sold is because he's worth the most, and also is the least valuable asset at the same time. Esteval's not going anywhere. Quenda isn't going to get sold. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he gets loaned out again next season. That's potentially another option. But the reason I worry about Neto getting sold is because he's playing so well, because we've had him on our books for a couple of years, so his book value will have gone down, but his stock has gone up because he's been playing so well. So Barcelona were linked with Pedro Neto just before the Barcelona game, actually. Some links were coming around talking about 80 million. If someone comes in with 80 million for Pedro Neto, they'll probably sell him, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And that's not what I want to see happen. I think Pedro Neto is fantastic. And if we were in that situation where we had these three wingers on the left, or, keep Pedro Neto in the squad any way you can. But I just think for balance and profile, I think that there's a reason that we haven't bought any left-footed left wingers for a really long time. And since Bluco come in, we've bought no left-footed left wingers. It's not something they want. It's not a way they're looking to build the team. So like I say, from the boring financial side of it, Pedro Neto represents the easiest way to make some money right now without losing a future asset.
It's not also just about shifting Esteval into the 10, because we've got Omega coming in the summer, which will play up front, and we all say that João Pedro looks better in the 10.
He doesn't know, does he? I think,
you know what I mean? It's just...
I think we said that after João Pedro went a load of games at striker not scoring, played 20 minutes in the 10, and we were like, he looks better in the 10, and then he's given a load of shot in the 10 when Liam Delap comes back and he still doesn't really look on it, man. João Pedro is a whole nother thing.
3 strikers is ideal, and if we've got them 3, Esteval, Palmer in the 10, Neto, Quenda, Garnacho, Gittins, fair enough.
Love that.
But if we start seeing drop and then maybe they go out and get another striker on top of Omega, then someone's going. Yeah, shock. But then we're gonna see someone go, and I don't think it'll be Gittins or Garnacho.
No,
because we've seen with other wingers that they get at least 2 seasons.
2 seasons. Yeah, exactly that.
To show something. So,
and also because they haven't played well, you wouldn't make anything for them. This is the thing with Neto.
No one's gonna pay them.
Exactly. Someone might come in and pay 80, like a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona or not a Real Madrid probably, but a big team might come in and pay serious money for Pedro Neto, where we can make some big profit off of him. And I think that, in terms of the financial worries and woes that we're in and stuff, I would absolutely hate to see him go. But if we are in that position where we just have too many players, then I think that he, out of all of our wingers, I think that Pedro is actually the top of the list that would go. And that terrifies me, because I think he's fantastic. And I don't like this 2-season thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't like this 2-season thing at all. Right, let's keep going through some of these comments. So, Neto can play left wing. Neto can play left wing. Daniel, Quenda needs time to adapt to the Premier League. I would keep Neto for one more season. 100%. I don't think the thing is, if I imagine by next season, Esteval's going to be ready to be starting most games as well, isn't he? That's the other thing. Is like at the end of the day, the Neto conversation might be defunct if Esteval Williams, or by the start of next season, is absolutely smashing it. Jay from Talking Chelsea, Neto on the left, Esteval in the 10. Quenda can play on the left if needed. Very fluid in that sense. Maresca will have a field day. That's true, actually. Not so much this season, but last season, Quenda did play quite a lot on the left. DJ Sav, yes, DJ Sav, big up. I don't Neto being sold. If anything, Garnacho and Gittins being moved on loan. So maybe a loan for one of them is possible, but like I say, I think as we've said it, that 2-season rule seems to be a bit of a thing, doesn't it? Maresca doesn't even favour Esteval. Fair enough. Blue is the colour. Garnacho or Gittins can be loaned. Again, I'll be really interested to see if that is what happens, because at the end of the day, like, that's what makes sense from the ability of the player's perspective. Pedro Neto's the best player, but the only thing that keeps it in the back of my head is he's the most obvious one to sell. I think because someone will probably come in with him for big money. Gabriel, yes, big up Gabriel. Good to see you, man. Evening, brothers. I think Maresca management of Esteval is out of love and not wanting to burn him out or allow him to be burdened. Eventually, he will be in the first team every game. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I just said as well, isn't it, man? Like, I think the problem with that as well, isn't it, is when Esteval, like I say, after this season, if I've got a feeling that in the last 10-15 games of the season, Esteval's just going to explode, because it's the World Cup as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So he's going to really want to be on good form, and if Esteval ends up finish, like we're talking about this with Pedro Neto's performances right now, but if by the end of the season Esteval's on 10 plus goals, he's had a purple patch and he looks absolutely unbelievable and ready to take that right wing spot straight away next season, then it might be a bit of an easier decision. And then maybe it does come down to Garnacho or Jamie Gittins. That'd be really interesting to see what happens. Daniel, we're on 15 likes. Hit the like button. Yes, I think that might be a record for me, for a live stream as well. Nice one, guys. Thanks very much. Yes, mate. 15 likes. Mad. I'd want at least 100 mil or more for Pedro Neto. He's such a key player for us. How do we replace him? 100 mil, mate, if someone comes in with 100 mil for Neto, he's done. That's it. He's out. I think 80 in my head. 80 seems like a reasonable amount based on what players are going for these days and stuff. And
is it out? He's 25 now, right?
Yeah, I think he's just turned 25.
Football terms, he's not even in his prime yet.
No.
Realistically,
no. Mate, so, I could see him going to Liverpool or something, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, obviously their right wing situation is in a bit of a mess at the moment, isn't it? Right, mad again. Will Maresca ever start Esteval? I think he will, and we had a lot of conversations about this at the start of the season, didn't we, Kai? And honestly, I think, if anything, that patch of games where he got played, that's exactly what I thought would happen if he got played too much. I think that he's just not ready. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's about pressure. I think it's just about the realism of the entire situation that he's in. I think by the end of the season,
it's the experience that he needs, and he only gets that by playing the game. So,
he is playing almost every game, though. That's the thing. He's just not like, do you know what I mean?
In the last, what 3-ish games, he's got 10, 15 minutes and that's including the stoppage injury time. So
needed a little bit of punishing, though. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That silly foul when there was a handball that wasn't given and he kicked the guy's boot, mate. That is petulance that needs to be punished, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? It's like you that doesn't wash, man. You absolutely can't play that way. I know he's a young player.
100%. Yeah.
So
what you're talking about.
No,
100%. Like, discipline is important. It's important for him at this age to learn this now, because it's only going to get worse in the league. This league is people are going to be kicking you all the time, especially if you're going to be a player like Esteval.
Yeah,
I mean, look how much Eden Hazard was kicked, man.
Mate, do you remember? It's funny. It's funny you mentioned Eden Hazard. He used to do something else as well that he got in a bit of trouble for. Eden Hazard would get fouled and stop. Well, yeah, obviously kick ball boys as well. But do you remember he went through this period of a couple of weeks where he's obviously getting kicked a lot, he's getting fouled a lot, and as soon as it happened, he just started stopping the game and throwing his arms up and stopping the game himself. And the first few times it got called, but after that it's like, bro, you can't do that, man. Do you know what I mean? You got to play the game. You got to play the game at the end of the day. Refs making mistakes, unfortunately, is part of football. That missing that handball from that player unfortunately is part of football, and you can't rectify that by kicking the guy's boot, because that is only ever going to be bad on you, isn't it? So yeah, I think that he a little spell out of the team after ultimately a couple of performances. The thing is, if Esteval plays 4-5 games in a row and nothing happens, people will start getting on him as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it was the right time to take him out, if I'm being completely honest.
Cardiff will give him a good opportunity to put himself back in, because he should start that game. I think he should.
Yeah, he absolutely should. And I also think that sometimes, by the Barcelona game, he actually looks at his best when he comes on as a sub this season at the moment. Do you know what I mean? When he's going into a game that's already a little bit, do you know what I mean? There's a little bit almost less tired, a bit less pressure on him and stuff.
To do something, yeah,
exactly. Cool. Gabrielle's got a question for you, Kai. Behind the dugouts, man looking sharp and lost weight. Keep it going. Big up the brothers. That's not a question. That's a compliment.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, fair play, mate. Fair play. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Right. Mad. No, I don't believe in Maresca's management of Esteval. For Brazil, Ancelotti starts him for every game and he scores and assists. Yeah, it's different though, man, isn't it? Because it's not 60 games over the course of a season. And it's also different, and I've mentioned this on the streams before. When he's in his hometown, surrounded by all of his mates who speak the language that he's in, the feeling is different, man. Do you know what I mean? Like me and Kai have both lived in other countries, actually, and I think we could probably both attest to this. You can get, it's just easier to be yourself in your own environment, isn't it, at the end of the day? And I feel a lot less pressure existing in the UK than when I did in France. Do you know what I mean? I loved living in France, man. I had loads of friends out there. It was a great place. I started a business. It was absolutely awesome. But the pressure was just higher because the language wasn't my first language. It was easier to make mistakes and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And it was easier not to understand stuff that was going on as well. So when Ancelotti's playing Esteval for Brazil, it's a lot safer. Do you know what I mean? He's just in a safer environment where he is just more relaxed and there's less pressure. Even though it's massive because it's Brazil, there's actually less pressure on him because he's in an environment that he's super, super comfortable in. So Omar, how do you feel about Maresca's management of Game Time Festivo? So yeah, we've kind of been covering that. I think that I don't think it's just down to Maresca either. I don't think that we're going to get onto the short list of managers that's being talked about soon, but I don't think if another manager came in to replace Maresca, I don't think he'd get managed any differently. I don't think Esteval's management is down to Maresca as much as the others is. Do you know what I mean? I think it'd be a case of like, and at the same time, there's so many cases. Look at what happened to Cole Palmer, man. Cole Palmer got played every single game for like nearly 2 seasons and we lost him for ages. Raheem Sterling started playing football for like first team football for Liverpool at 17 years old, played constantly for a decade, and his legs went at 28. Do you know what I mean? I think that if a manager came in and just started playing Esteval Willian every single game now, I think that would ultimately be detrimental for his career. So I don't personally, I think Kai disagrees with me, but I don't think that any manager would necessarily come in and do it that much differently. Maybe give him a couple more chances, but I don't think it'd be that much different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to start every game, but I've said it quite a few times. He has the ability to start multiple games in a row. Like when we're going like 4, 5, 6 games, I don't think he's got the stamina or the physicalness yet to be able to do that. But I definitely can see him doing 2, 3, 4 games. Now, how he's done, and I know we talked to potentially it could be because he's being punished. I'd also say how much do you want to punish a 17, 18-year-old kid? Because the last 3 games, for me, he hasn't had enough minutes, especially when 2 of those games, we needed something. We needed to inject something. There's the Leeds game, especially the Bournemouth game. Like, I think he come on like the 82nd minute, and we were sitting there at like the 45-minute going, we need something different because it just is not working, and we left it so long. So yeah, he definitely needed the punishment for his kick out to say, look, that just doesn't fly here. You can't be doing that. Otherwise you're getting booked, sent off, what it is. Yeah. But for the games after, he hasn't had enough minutes for me personally. That's why he's definitely got to be starting Cardiff, and he needs to get the whole game, because what you've also taken away is he had a good run of games where he was getting match sharpness, he's building fitness, he was picking up momentum. He's lost all of that now.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
he's not playing any minutes. Like
Yeah.
training and match is completely different. It's the intensity we know is different. So he's lost that sharpness. So now he needs to get that back, and he's only going to do that by playing. So he needs to play some more minutes moving forward.
When's the Cardiff game?
It's Tuesday, I think. Tuesday night, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Tuesday, and then
we've
got Newcastle Saturday, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I broadly agree with that, man. Like, if the reason that Esteval hasn't played many minutes in the last couple of games is still because of the punishment thing, I think that's too much. I think he needed a game, like at least one game out, and then maybe to feature a bit in another game. But yeah, at this point, it's definitely too much. But yeah, it's just a bit of a nuts one, isn't it, man? It's like, do we expect to see a fully rotated team for Cardiff? But we've got a lot of other stuff we've been putting off, actually. Yeah. Maybe we'll come to the Cardiff game at the end. So let's quickly talk about Robert Sanchez before we move on to Maresca's pointed comments, because we're already an hour in, man. We were going to start talking about Sanchez like 25 minutes ago. But yeah, Sanchez, talk to me about Robert Sanchez.
Mate, he's surprising me, man. He's surprised me. Only goalkeeper to keep the same amount of clean sheets as him this season is Raya. 8 clean sheets, which is nuts. It's nuts. And look, I still have my reservations on Sanchez.
Of course.
I'm still not fully convinced. But when we've been going through this crappy period, like he's been doing one thing that I have to say that he is completely changed.
Yeah,
is his claiming from crosses.
Yeah, really good.
Like when that ball comes in the box, I'm not worried that he's just smacking people out of the way. You know, Superman grabbing it. Where before he used to do that stupid punch thing.
Yeah,
it used to annoy the hell out of me.
I mean, this is the thing, though, isn't it? Is like, players get coached, players develop, and players improve. I think the thing with Robert Sanchez is he had such an enormous sample size of problems. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, it was, you don't even need to be a particularly analytical person to have been able to look at Rob Sanchez last season and been like, stop punching, stop doing short passes. Do you know what I mean? Stop, there were a litany of issues that Robert Sanchez had. And ultimately, I think that his confidence and Maresca, and to give Maresca credit, Maresca adapting the way he plays his goalkeepers to suit Robert Sanchez's natural strengths more, I think has been a big part of it as well. Yeah. Because instead of making Rob Sanchez improve his short distribution, which is what one of the problems was, he's now allowed him to do much more in the way of long distribution. So you've essentially removed that error without needing to coach out of it just by changing your tactics. So that in itself, I think, is down to Maresca. Then all of a sudden, your list gets smaller by quite a lot, because that distribution thing was like the top reason he was making the majority of mistakes. So when that's already gone, and then you're like, okay, now we just need to work on claiming crosses instead of punching them out, and being a bit less anxious, and being able to, he started to be able to build new stuff, like becoming that like auxiliary centre-back kind of role that we've been seeing him as, like part of the back two a bit more often in possession and stuff as well. So I think, so my big take is I don't think we should get Mike Maignan now. I was really for it for a long time. Looking at Sanchez right now, I don't think Sanchez is the guy that's going to win us titles. I think Mike Penders is the guy that's going to win us titles, if I'm completely honest. But looking at Sanchez right now versus Mike Maignan, I looked at their stats a little while ago. I did a 3 goalkeeper video. There's not enough difference in Mike Maignan to displace Sanchez, bearing in mind Sanchez is a few years younger and is improving and is already embedded in the team, understands the tactics and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't see the benefit now in shaking up the formula when ultimately the goal is going to be to get Mike Penders in the stick. So personally, we keep Rob Sanchez for the rest of the season, and then I would probably bring Mike Penders back in next season, and they can do a Czech v Courtois style battle, and whoever wins it, wins it.
The only thing with that is, if I was, and this is for me, if a young goalkeeper and I had the option to learn from a Robert Sanchez or a Mike Maignan, I know who I'm picking. I'm picking Big Mike, because of what you could learn, what he's done in the game. And I understand Sanchez could still go and do that because he's a lot younger, but we're talking about right now at this point. So that would be the only thing. But then
I don't see Mike Penders coming in to learn from Mike Maignan, even if Mike Maignan's the guy.
Play Sanchez,
yeah,
like tout de suite, like.
I think that's exactly what happened. Tout de suite. Nice. Yeah. I think that is exactly what happened with Courtois and Cech. Courtois didn't come to learn off of Cech. The season that Courtois came in, he won the battle. He won it quickly, and that was all she wrote. I think when Mike Penders comes in, he's not coming in to develop anymore. He's coming in to play. That's the difference between Penders and Jorgensen for me. Jorgensen still needs to learn, still needs to develop.
Courtois was also playing at Atletico, and they were in the Champions League. So obviously Penders, well, he's in the Conference League, but
mate. So honestly, looking at their stats, looking at their stats, so Mike Penders, the thing that Mike Penders has got over Mike Maignan and Robert Sanchez is his short distribution. His short distribution is phenomenal in terms of that's how Liam Rosenior plays, and he's very, very, very good at it. Where he's not as good at the moment is shot stopping. So he's got the rest of the season to edge out, like to improve. So what I would personally do if I were the guy in the chair making the decisions at the end of the season, I would look at Mike Penders and Robert Sanchez's shot stopping, which at the moment, so the best shot stopper out of the three of them is actually Mike Maignan. But Robert Sanchez is got better long distribution. Mike Penders has got a better short distribution. If Penders' shot stopping is in and around as good as Robert Sanchez's is, because at the end of the day, I get it, like the difference in leagues and stuff, but when you're facing a goal, you're facing a goal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, by the way. I feel like there's less difference in being a goalkeeper in a different league to being a defender or a midfielder or a striker.
Yeah, in some sense, because like, and again, a shot on a goal is a shot on a goal, no matter what foot it's coming from. It's just the terms of quality of player that's taking those shots would be different. Like the French league, I mean, they don't even have Mbappe anymore, but they have got some quality players. But then when you're coming up against, you look at the Italian league, potentially you've got the likes of Lukaku and things like that are in that league. I don't like saying his name too much, to be honest. And then obviously this league where you probably say Sanchez has got the up because he's going up against people like Mohamed Salah, Erling Haaland, all generally the top forwards in the world.
Yeah.
It's tough because, like, for me, Mike Maignan is still the better keeper, and Maresca wants to play this short ball. Like this is his style. And
Mike Maignan's not very good at short distribution, though.
But he's better than Sanchez.
He's better at not even that much, actually. And so the reason it's difficult to say is because AC Milan don't play with a lot of short distribution coming from their keeper. Yeah. So the thing is, with Penders, he is short distributing all of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like that's literally how he's playing his game. With Mike Maignan, his short distribution per capita, like the percentage, is better than Rob Sanchez's, but he's doing it a lot less. Do you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily as simple as saying Mike Maignan's short distribution is better, therefore he comes in, plays more short distribution, and is still that good per capita as it moves up, because they don't play with their AC Milan don't play with their AC Milan don't really play a huge amount of long distribution either. He's very much like more of a classic shot stopper kind of thing. They don't really funnel much of their build up through him or anything like that. He's a bit more like, when you look at Mike Maignan, it's more about the shot stopping, really, which is better than Robert Sanchez and is better than Mike Penders. But getting cramp. But I don't think that. So yeah, that's just my take on it anyway, man. I don't think Mike Maignan is enough of an upgrade on Robert Sanchez. If we were talking the difference between Robert Sanchez and Courtois,
free, Because what if you got him for free? Because he's at the end of his contract at the end of the season, so he is and could potentially be free. Would that change your mind then? Because now you're not paying anything.
Well, it depends on Robert Sanchez's stats by the end of the season, man, to be honest. Because if you, so the thing is, it's about the displacement, isn't it? And it's about changing the team again in a position that it doesn't need to be changed and isn't long term. I don't want to see, because the thing is, imagine like we're trying to build consistency in our team right now, and we've got so we had Edouard Mendy. Edouard Mendy goes, Oh, well, sorry, no, let's go back even further than that. We've got Kepa. Kepa starts playing, he goes. Edouard Mendy comes back in. Edouard Mendy goes for a little bit, and then Kepa comes back in. Then Kepa goes, and then Willy Caballero comes in for a little bit and is our first choice goalkeeper. Then Robert Sanchez comes in. Then, is it Philip? Yeah, Philip Jorgensen again, do you know what I mean? And then Robert Sanchez ousts him and gets back, do you know what I mean? It's like, and then to add on top of that again, now we bring Marc Maignan in, and Rob Sanchez ends up becoming the Philip Jorgensen. Philip Jorgensen's not playing well. He's very unhappy. That's not going to be good for the dressing room. Sanchez will have a lot of friends in that dressing room now. If we're going to make a change, I want the next one to be for the long term. I don't see if we're only going to have Marc Maignan for a season, I don't necessarily think it's beneficial enough. I don't think he's that much better. I'm not saying he isn't better. He obviously is better in shot stopping especially. But I just don't see him being that much better than Robert Sanchez to do another short-term change when ultimately the goal is for Mike Penders to get in there anyway. Unless Maignan's happy to come in and be the number 2, which I don't suspect he is, but that could change things. Right, we've been rambling about Sanchez for a while. I'm just going to go back through some of these comments. Right, okay. But where am I? I don't trust. Yeah, okay, here we go. So we're going to get into the manager stuff actually. So I'll read a couple of these comments and then we'll move into the big piece of news that we spent a really, really long time getting into, but about Maresca and his comments post Everton game. From Mad, it is, I believe Maresca's inexperience that makes him manage Esteval like that. Do you remember how Ferguson managed Wayne Rooney or Liverpool's Michael Owen at 17? It wasn't like this. So again, there's one massive difference between the two players that you mentioned in Esteval, and that is Wayne Rooney and Michael Owen were English in a time where the English league was a lot more English as well in general. Obviously, that was kind of really before the enormous influx of foreign players that come in. And that so the culture of the league was a lot more, kind of English in general, wasn't it? So I think that they'd have just been really, really, really comfortable, like super, super, super comfortable at that point. And like I say, with Esteval Willian, I think that the fact that he's still learning the language, man, and it's hard. Learning a language is really, really difficult. I think that's difficult. I believe we might be going for the Crystal Palace manager. I'm okay with that. So that's something I made a video about the other day, and we will get onto that in a minute because it pertains to the whole Enzo Maresca conversation. Jay, last year, directors said when his football IQ matches the ability, we will see the best of Sanchez. And over the last number of months, we've been seeing him this develop, and he's become a top keeper. 100% agree with that, man. 100% agree. And that's the thing is, like, I don't see Mike Maignan getting better than he currently is. Do you know what I mean? But with Sanchez, we're watching him still develop, and I think by the end of the season, I think it'll be an easier decision.
He deserves his flowers at the moment because he is one of the better players in our team at the moment.
Yeah,
consistently as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Which is not something we've been able to say for a while.
No. On Sanchez, Omar says he's more vocal and decisive in the box. 100% true. He's definitely like that. It's that rugby guy, isn't it? It's the rugby guy they've got in has really, really G'd him up, and he's definitely come out of his shell a lot more. Mad says, I'm okay to bring in Maignan because Jorgensen is not good enough. He's got to go. Now, I 100% agree with that, but then the question for me there is Maignan happy to come in and be a number 2? I would love that, because actually what I think we've been missing for a really long time is an experienced backup goalkeeper. Yeah. I don't think you should have a young backup goalkeeper. I think you either have someone who's genuinely fighting for that first spot, or you have an Asmir Begovic, you have a Mark Schwarzer, you have a Willy Caballero. Do you know what I mean? You have someone who is happy to sit and play the odd game. Tim Krul was good at that as well.
36, 37, maybe 35 you could get away with it, but I can't see Maignan wanting to be a number 2.
He'll be 33 by the start of next season, won't he?
Will he? Yeah.
I think so. Omar says, I think at times our wingers aren't on the same wavelength as Bobito when he launches it deep and hampers our attack at times. That's true, but it does pay off sometimes as well, doesn't it? Like sometimes I'm actually mad impressed by his long distribution sometimes, his pinpoint passes, but he does do it quite a lot, and it probably doesn't come off more often than it does.
He also has a habit of kicking the ball into Kaisei or whoever comes in short. The midfielder that comes in short. I've seen it like multiple games now.
It was Enzo Fernandez last time, wasn't it? Just booted it in his face.
Maybe they're saying something to him, or he's just levering the ball at him, but he's done it in like multiple games. I don't get it, and it's the same kick every time.
Maybe that's another one that they can work out of his system. But yeah, I mean, I'll take that over 5 errors that lead into goals in a season at the end of the day. Okay, so Mazza, big up Mazza. I still would like someone with better distribution, someone more commanding and traditional. I don't think any of our backline are comfortable listening to this guy. We need more goal scorers, and I wouldn't worry about goalkeeper. Yeah, I basically agree with that, man. I think Penders is the answer to a lot of those questions. I think Penders needs to improve his shot stopping, and he's still got half a season to do that. He's not a million miles away from Sanchez right now. And like I say, for me, if Mike Maignan happy to come in and be a number 2, wicked, do it, absolutely brilliant, really, really big fan of that. I don't think Sanchez will be happy to be a number 2. I think he's too young. I think he will want to go, especially after how well he's playing now.
Well, he said it, hasn't he? He said, if you're going to make me number 2, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see it.
No. But for me, I think Penders is going to be... And the thing is with Penders, I think Maresca will be licking his lips, man, because his short distribution is off the charts. Do you know what I mean? It's so good.
Yeah,
it's absolutely phenomenal. He's already, and the thing is that will literally allow him to change the build up of the team. So this is another thing before we properly get into the Maresca thing. In fairness to Maresca, before we get into everything that we're going to get into, he has been up against it in terms of how he wants to play versus the tools that he's got. And like the thing is, that's the case for a lot of managers though. We can't all be Pep Guardiola and Alex Ferguson. Do you know what I mean? We can't all just get everything that we want. We can't all be Jose Mourinho 2006. Do you know what I mean? And just get absolutely every single player you want through the door, because that's just not how football works anymore. But Maresca has had to adapt how he plays with his goalkeeper because of Robert Sanchez's poor short distribution ability. He's had to adapt how he likes to play with his centre-backs because no one is as good a passer as Levi Colwill is. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if he's really had to... I wouldn't know about the attack, really, because we've just had such a weird group of attackers since Maresca's been in. But I do, especially when it comes to the defence and the goalkeeper, I do think fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Maresca's definitely had to adapt his own style of play because he hasn't got the exact kind of players that he would want for those positions. What do you think about that?
Then that's the question. You go, what are the sporting directors and are they actually sitting down and having a conversation about what players would suit the system? I get, some might be out of the price range, I would say more on wages than actual transfer fees, because at the moment we spend money on anything. But there has to be some kind of conversation, because I agree, like, he's been given some incorrect tools. It's not like he's not been given the tools. He's been given the wrong tools for his style, which is definitely down to the recruitment side of things. And it's spoken about a lot.
As far as the goalkeeping thing goes, though, do you not think that Maresca would have been a part of the conversation after Rob Sanchez's Club World Cup run? Because we went in for Maignan, and all the noise was saying we were going to go in for him again after the Club World Cup in the second window when it opened. Do you think that... Because Noni Madueke went kind of randomly, didn't we? We weren't expecting Noni Madueke to go, and he just kind of like left before the last few games. So do you not think that Maresca will have been part of the conversation, being like, okay... Because the thing is, Maignan wasn't going to cost a huge amount of money. I think that the reason they didn't buy him beforehand is because they were like, right, that's fine. You're putting a tax on him now because we need him for this competition, but we'll just wait until afterwards and then we'll get him for a reasonable price. So do you not think that Maresca was involved in the conversation saying, Sanchez has just had a good Club World Cup. What do you think about keeping him, or should we still go in for Maignan? Do you think he would have been given any choice in that at all?
It's hard to say, mate. I don't think so, because I still am under the premise, if we wanted Big Mike, we would have got him. We would have got him. And obviously at that point, Sanchez hadn't played Club World Cup yet. No. Obviously had a not too bad end of the season. But he performed definitely better, a lot better in the Club World Cup. I just kind of think they wanted to put the money elsewhere, and maybe they already
it's not that
knew
much
about
money,
these.
God, they spent more than that on Amari Kellyman.
It was like 27 million, but then...
Well, no, it was like we wanted to pay 8. We wanted to pay 8, and they wanted like 12 or. I mean, it was silly. It was silly.
And then we had the whole thing about the charges and things like that. I don't know. I just feel like the Maignan thing. They knew that he was going to be out of contract at the end of next season. And it was like, well, sort of doing like a Real Madrid kind of thing. Like, you're going to be out. Come to us when you're out, and we don't have to pay nothing. I don't feel because Maresca had slated Sanchez over the course of last season.
Well, yeah.
Not brutally, but he had come out saying, not good enough, this and this and that. And he did get dropped for a little bit, and Jorgensen took over. It was
the
last
thing
season,
is,
wasn't it?
do you know one thing that we're not considering at all is if Maignan is on a free, is Chelsea his first choice?
Chelsea's always the first choice, mate. What are you talking about? But no, it is a good point. But then you look at all the other top clubs out there. The only one Barcelona, they could probably use a new goalkeeper.
Juventus, big fan of Maignan.
Yeah, Juventus, but then maybe he doesn't want to play in Italy anymore, and that's why he's looking out. Then you look at the Premier League. Arsenal are set, Liverpool are set, City are set because they've just bought Donnarumma. I'm not even going to say Tottenham.
No, I agree. I don't Tottenham, think there's another English club. Man United, maybe, but they have just bought some sort of keeper, haven't they? I do remember
Lemon or something.
Yeah. Lemony Snicket. I do remember Man United being linked with him. But no, honestly, I think like if a Spanish club and honestly, man, partly I'm thinking about when you're close to retirement age, and I know that sounds mad because he's only like whatever, but do you know what I mean? If he's got one more big contract in him and a Juve comes in for him or Real Sociedad or another Italian team.
Dependent. Like if we get Champions League, and it hurts me to even say that, then that would, I would say, play a big factor.
Yeah, okay.
Decision, especially a keeper like him. Like these players want to be playing Champions League, especially if he's not got many years left.
All right. Do you know what we need to wrap up the goalkeeper stuff, man? We need to been going for half an hour. There's a couple more comments. I'm going to go through the comments that are still pertaining to the goalkeeper conversation, but then we are going to move firmly onto the big news, the big noise. Right, okay. So Maz has got a few things to say. We need more. I know we said that already. Totally agree. That's where the sporting directors let him down. So that's in response to Maresca not having the goalkeeper or the tools. Mad says, I'd be okay to bring in Maignan as competition for Sanchez. If in a couple of years he becomes unhappy, we can sell him for pure profit. It's a win-win. So you don't sign Maignan on a long deal. Maignan comes in on a 2+1, maybe.
Probably,
Do you know what I mean? Probably a 2-year deal because of his age. So if we bring Maignan in on a free, we're never making profit on him. It's not like Tosin, for instance. Tosin's still got a few years left in the tank, more so than Maignan does. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't think Maignan would come and sign a long deal at Chelsea either because of the situation. I also don't think if Maignan comes in, it's to battle with Sanchez. I think if Maignan comes in, Sanchez leaves. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think Sanchez will be up for that battle. Sanchez is just going to go, absolutely not. If I'm not your number one goalkeeper, then I'm going to leave. But with Mike Penders, he probably backs himself to have a go at that battle. Do you know what I mean? But with Maignan, I don't know. I feel like Sanchez would probably walk if that was the case. But on the flip side, he can play an inverted right back in more than one or two options either side, even though it's frustrating. Right backs are not overlapping. And I think we dodged the bullet on Maignan, but could be looking at other options. Still, Jorgensen isn't good enough to back up Sanchez. It's being protected very well by this backline. It's underrated. So yeah, a couple of things I agree with there. Either way, the one thing we need to absolutely sort out is a new Marcus Bettinelli. Whoever our first choice goalkeeper is going to be, we need an experienced backup goalkeeper because we have been caught with our pants down this season because we didn't have that. Also, the backline, especially since Trev and Fofana have been playing, Trev, Fofana and Sanchez are a good back three in that respect. Do you know what I mean? They do all work quite well together. So we're going to put goalkeepers for now firmly behind us, and we're going to talk about Enzo Maresca and what he said after the Everton game. So, right, here it is, guys. Here it is. And you all know this already. You've all seen it. After the game, Enzo Maresca was doing his post-match interview, and I found this mad. This is when he said it as well. He was asked about Malagusto. And if there's anyone that you're looking forward to waxing lyrical about in that game, it's Malagusto, because he was the man of the match, goal and an assist, played an amazing game from inverting into right back, beautiful pass through to Cole Palmer, and a great goal with an assist from Neto. Brilliant. And just played generally really well throughout the whole game. Fantastic. Awesome. Love it. Instead of answering the question about how good Malagusto was, Enzo Maresca took that moment to say, this has been the worst 48 hours since I've joined this club. Why is that? Because we haven't been getting the support. Me and the players and my staff haven't gotten the support we need in the last 48 hours. Big claim. Big claim. The journalist presses him. Oh, what do you mean the fans haven't been supporting you? No, not the fans. The fans have been brilliant. Okay, cool. So that's the fans gone. So that leaves the question, right? Who isn't supporting Maresca? Why has he come out and said this? What does it mean? So the first thing that you think, it's not the media, is it? Maresca isn't coming out after a match in a press conference complaining about not getting support from the media, because the media don't support people. They're journalists. They commentate. And same with us. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he said the fans are great, so we know that's not it. So he's obviously pointing to the hierarchy, the ownership, the technical directors, the model, Blueco in general. He's feeling that he hasn't got enough support. So going back to a comment that was made earlier about Oliver Glasner from Crystal Palace potentially being touted, that rumour emerged 2 days ago. It originated, now I didn't make a video about it, but I didn't put a huge amount of stock in it because it originated from a tweet, a post on X, right, from a social media platform that is like a football leaker. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take that with a pinch of salt, but I'll talk about it anyway. Supposedly, the technical directors are questioning whether Maresca is the guy, essentially. They're questioning his tactics, they're questioning his management style, and supposedly Oliver Glasner has been approached by someone telling him not to sign a new deal with Crystal Palace because Chelsea aren't sure about the manager situation. Now, initially, I was like, that is fanciful. And I feel like it's not really been properly reported. The source isn't a news outlet. Do you know what I mean? The source was a social media post. But it matches up with the time frame that Enzo Maresca is talking about in the last 48 hours. Because that would have been, when he came out and said that was when, 48 hours before that, was when the Oliver Glasner news, inverted comments, leaked. So there's a lot to get into here, but Kai, just on the face of it, what do you think?
Look, man, if it is, and most likely is directed to the owners, the sporting directors, the hierarchy, very dangerous game. Like, managers have been sacked for less.
Mate, Roman had sacked him straight away.
So, yeah, it's dangerous. Do I feel for the guy? Yeah. Like, when Maresca came in, nobody, well, there's probably some people out there were going like, this guy, he could be it. Everybody was tentative. Mm-hmm. He's a championship manager. Yes, he won the championship, but it was touch and go there for a minute if it was going to happen. And I think we all came to the consensus, if it doesn't work out, it's not on Maresca. It's on the sporting directors, the hierarchy. And we've seen now a couple of multiple windows where we as fans have gone, we need this. We need this. Give Maresca the tools to take this team to the next level.
Yeah.
And we've kept the same strategy. We've kept buying the same things, the same players, going to the, the hospitals, checking the babies, making sure, they're going to be getting them to sign their pre-contracts before they come out the womb.
Yeah.
And it stayed like that. And now we're going through another tough period. I can imagine, especially after 3-4 wins on the bounce, they would have already been having strategies about what they potentially could do in January. We've all seen that it's not going to be much. Maybe that's changed. Maybe it's not. We don't know yet. But they've definitely been having sit-downs.
Mm-hmm.
And could there have been a discussion as to, like, I can't believe that they're sitting there going, we don't think Maresca's the right man anymore, when they have come out and said he is the right man. Like, it doesn't make much sense. And if that is the case, God, there should be an absolute uproar. And I feel for Maresca because I do think he's not been back to the fullest and that he should have been given more support. It's really tough, man. And I do think he is walking a very thin line.
Yeah.
Because he had some comments at the beginning of the season, didn't he?
Yeah.
where he said something and then he had to backtrack it a little bit a couple of days later. I think it was about the centre back, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about
the whole finding internal options and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he then comes out in the next press conference and sort of backtracks a little bit again, or maybe elaborates and go, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was maybe even throws the content creators under the bus or something like that." You know what I mean?
Then I want to get into this actually. I want to get into this.
Then we go, okay, it's definitely was aimed towards the board, and they've had a sit down with him and gone like, "Look, we're not having that. You need to make amends." But if he has done it, and I get why we're seeing manager links, he's walking a very, very thin line.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read through a couple of these comments. Because since we started talking about this, they popped off a little bit. And then I want to specifically hone in on the content creator thing, because something quite funny happened earlier on Jay's channel. Right, so Mad says, Maresca's getting sacked. Our owners don't put up with this. Now, there's a conversation to be had there, for sure. Daniel Knight says, Enzo Maresca is not getting back the ownership and sporting director and players he wants. He's not getting backed. Yeah, but I also think there's a conversation about that to be had, that I don't think that any manager comes into Chelsea and gets to make demands on players anymore. And I think that, I've said this before, when Maresca took this job, he knew that that's how it was going to be. This isn't a surprise. This isn't a shock. So, I take issue with his reaction a little bit. The owners warned him about this before. 100%, yes, they did. And that's kind of what we were talking about with the centre-back thing. Okay, talking Chelsea, clearly talking about content creators. So this was funny, man, and you've just said that as well, actually. And so Jay does news videos where he, check out Jay's channel, guys. If you haven't, Talking Chelsea in the chat there, absolutely wicked channel. Go and check it out. He does daily news videos like me, but his style's a little bit different to mine. I ramble and vibe a bit more. Jay is very good at discerning information from tweets and finding sources, which is something I maybe need to do a little bit more of. But he was reading about this thing in particular, and someone commented on his video saying, he was talking about content creators like you, and I was like, oh, that's a bit harsh, man. So a couple of things about this. We are fans, right? Just because we're content creators, it doesn't mean we're not fans anymore. We still support our club. We just do it on a platform, right? Rather than just being in front of the tellies or whatever. So content creators is call it that. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, we are still fans. And Maresca said the fans aren't the problem. The other thing about the content creator stuff is if you are taking pot shots at content creators in a press conference where you've won a game for the first time in 6 games, you're asked about the best player on the pitch and you choose that moment to take a pop shot at content creators, then you're in the wrong job. If he comes out and says, and do you know what, honestly, when it happened on Jay's channel, I was like, what's the guy talking about? But you've just said it as well. And if that comes out to be a thing, and if he mentions anything about content creators, that will push me closest to I've ever been to Maresca out, because being a manager at a top club in the Premier League is about character. And if you can't handle a couple of content creators criticizing you, then you're in the wrong job, man. Do you know what I mean? You're in the wrong job.
And the thing is, and at the start where he would have been given his contract, had his meeting, I'm sure everything would have been laid out bare to him. This is what's going to happen. This is how we expect you to act.
It's why Poch only got a 2-year deal. It's like everyone forgets. No one ever talks about this, man. No one ever talks about this. Everyone says Pochettino got sacked. He didn't get sacked. He had a 2-year deal, which I actually think was a 1+1. Pochettino went into that job begrudgingly because he knew what was put out on the table. Same for Enzo Maresca, like you're saying. Enzo Maresca goes into this job. They're like, we have 6 now sporting directors that are going to mostly choose. You can tell us the profile of some of the players that you would like, but for the most part, we're going to build the team and you're going to coach it, right? In the grand scheme of things, that's how it's going to work, isn't it? So I think it's quite petty from Enzo Maresca, and I actually question his character. If it's a pot shot at the owners, I question his character. If it's a pot shot at fans, I question his character. If it's a pot shot at content creators, I question his character. Whenever do managers come out and take pot shots at their ownerships? Unless they're very, very, very close to an unceremonious end, vis-a-vis Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho at Tottenham. Antonio Conte at Tottenham.
He's feeling some kind of pressure.
Yeah.
I do think he's feeling some kind of pressure. And I don't know, is he doing it to try and get what he wants?
He's not going to get what he wants, man.
Yeah, I know, but when you're backed in the corner and you really want something and there's no other way, you do try stupid things, you do act stupidly,
The thing
and
is,
it could be one of those moments. But
no, you
we
don't
also don't
though.
know
That's
what's
the
going
thing.
on
You
behind
don't.
closed doors. We don't know what has been said to him in meetings
It all
prior
should
to
be
this
going
win.
on behind closed doors. That is
Yeah.
exactly my point. The fact that it's not going on behind closed doors is actually what I take issue with. Because look, let's say you're right. Let's say everything you've just said is right.
Yeah.
And maybe promises have been broken, and maybe he's been told things that haven't happened or whatever. What part of him thinks that coming out and choosing that moment to take a pot shot at the owners in the press is going to help? What positive thing is going to come out? The owners are going to turn around and go, "Oh, do you know what? Fair enough. Have what you..." No, obviously not. Do you know what I mean? Obviously not. It's petulant and childish to even think that that's how it would work. So my issue, I'm a bit ground up about this, man. And if anything, it's because I've backed him so much. And even though I've had issues and things I want him to improve, this ties in to another issue that I have with Maresca, is lack of accountability, right? We all talk about Maresca hasn't been given the tools that he needs, or this and that and the other. It's like, yeah, all right, mate, like talk to the other 19 managers in the Premier League and find out how many of them have got exactly what they want in their teams. Do you know what I mean? It's just not how it works, man. You're not special. You're a Premier League manager. You've got a team. Only Pep Guardiola is allowed to build his team exactly the way he wants. Only. Look at what's happened at Liverpool at the moment. Do you think Arne Slot wanted all of those players? Probably not. Look at Ruben Amorim. Do you think he's getting all of the players that he wants? No. Thomas Frank. No, what is the difference between Enzo? Why are we so harsh on... Don't get me wrong, I'm not like massively backing the owners here, but at the same time, why do we always really quickly go to, oh yeah, well the owners haven't given him what he wants? And I'm like, all right, okay, cool. So let's look at every other single player team in the Premier League and ask them if they've got their perfect 11s and their perfect bench and there's no issues at all and there's nothing that they'd want.
I think it's more so on the experience that he needs rather than the specific player that he needs. Like, I feel like if Maresca's gone in a meeting, which I guarantee he has, please give me an experienced centre-back. Is not something he shouldn't ask for. Like, it's different if he's going, give me Isaac. Do you
think that's what this pop shot was about, though?
No. I feel like it potentially could be part of January is around the corner and the club have already come out saying we're not doing anything, and he's looking at the team. Maybe he's going, look, at least prior to these stupid 4 games, and I know he done this after the Everton game, but maybe he felt that we could try and compete, could try and challenge. Like, if I had this experience that I asked for at the start of the season, maybe we wouldn't have gone through this crappy thing. And now you're telling me, again, we don't know what meetings he's had behind closed doors. Now you're telling me you're not giving me anything in January. Because it's not the first manager that has made pop shots close to windows.
No, but that's
the hand.
There's not. The thing is, though, it's the specific wording, right? It's the specific wording, because he didn't say, I haven't been supported all season, or I'm not being supported in the way that I need. Hours. He said the last 48 hours. So, and I think that he chose his words carefully enough in this respect. I do think that he has found out, or has been told, or whatever, that he's got a certain amount of games to save his job. Essentially, that's genuinely what I do think has happened now. And I think that and I don't know if Oliver Glasner is the guy, but we'll get onto this in a minute. There's actually a short list. I'll see if I can find it in a minute. I'll ask you a question and I'll find the short list while you're answering it. Yeah. But I do think that he is not responding to just not being backed in January, because he'll know the financial situation as well. That's the other thing. Do you know what I mean? He already knows the financial situation. At the end of the day, he's had a lot of players bought for him. He will be very, very happy with the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Reece James, Marco Correa, Moises Caicedo, Esteban Willian, Cole Palmer. For the most part, he'd have been happy with João Pedro and Liam Delap as well, just because they haven't turned out well. Do you know what I mean? And also, at the end of the day, when you look at how well Fofana and Chalobah are doing now, he wasn't necessarily wrong to be told to look for an internal option rather than spending money now on a short-term solution when they can go for a better long-term solution later. So... yeah, I personally think it's about him being told that he's got time until, and at the end of the day, if you think like there's no loyalty in any of this, Maresca's not loyal to the club's not loyal to Maresca. They have an employer-employee relationship, and from an employer's perspective, Maresca again for the second year running has been in second place and sacked it in 4 games. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we look like we're going to start struggling for top 4 again. And we've got a really rough run of games coming up as well, man. We haven't got any easy games now until after January. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, speak a little bit on that just while I find the shortlist, basically about what I'm saying about I think that he...
yeah, I mean, it's what I was saying. Like, we don't know what's been said behind closed doors, but it's definitely... It's going to be in and around the realms. If you don't sort this out within this time frame, it's going to be the end of you, mate, kind of thing. And
I've seen February.
That is part of the reason as to why he could be saying this and why he's coming out. But then again, surely you would look. I get it's an emotional sport, and these people were emotional people. I get it, and Italians are super fiery.
Yeah,
you know, they do love a scrap.
Latin passion, mate. It's all about that Latin passion.
But in terms of, you know, focusing on actually just doing the job and getting the win so it doesn't become a factor, you kind of go and make it worse by saying it, because like you said, this has not helped any situation. If anything, it's made the situation worse.
Yeah, for sure.
If they've gone to him, well, you've got this amount of games, you've got 10 games, and if you don't sort it out in 10 games, you get sacked. He's probably now got half that. Because
that's
so he's probably made it worse for himself. And I mean, he could be looking at going, I could get a payout here and walk out of this because I can't be asked with what, because I can't imagine as a manager. And I know we talk about like we spent lots of money, we've got lots of players, and there is quality. But in terms of the environment, I think the environment is not as great behind closed doors between the hierarchy and the management, not the management and the players, as it should be.
Yeah,
I do think there's quite a disconnect.
Yeah.
It's not like as it was under Roman, and I know the money spending and stuff is a different story. But in terms of like he bred football and breathed football. These owners are not the same.
That's true, but that's the same with a lot of owners, though, isn't it? Like a lot of owners aren't football fans. Do you know what I mean? They're business people.
But that's what I mean. But so in terms of like Maresca's might be sitting there going, "Look, I've won you the Club World Cup. I got you back into the Champions League. I won you the Conference League. You know, we were second, and we've gone through a sticky patch. You're basically telling me if I don't rectify this in this amount of games, you're sacking me."
Tuchel got less than that.
Yeah. But in terms of, you know, I've done, because obviously they're giving him his targets. You've got to make top 4 minimum, whatever the targets are. And he's like, I've achieved your targets you set me last year. I'm going to achieve the targets this year. Yet you're saying this stuff to me. So I get it from his point of view, but the dirty laundry's got to stay behind closed doors.
100%, man, 100%. Because then he's bringing all of us into it. Do you know what I mean? It's like by making all this public, like he's inviting our opinion.
All of this the next few days from Saturday after that game up until we play Cardiff, where I guarantee either before the game or at the end of the game, he's going to be asked about this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is.
So this now becomes a running thing for the
He knew that when he said it as well. That's another thing that annoys me is like, you can't tell me you don't know how the press works. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know that, and he avoided answering a question to say this as well. He's now created this narrative, and that is what has irritated me, man. It's like, I expect more from character and personality. Right, so we're gonna go through some of the comments, and then I'm gonna get to the short list, and we're gonna start being fanciful. I don't know what's gonna happen, man. We'll obviously have to wait and see, but it'll just be interesting to speculate about, won't it? So first, 18 likes. Yes, thank you, Omar. Let's get more. So we've got 18 concurrent viewers and 18 likes. Absolutely love that. That is my record for a stream, by the way, guys. So thank you very, very, very much. Having an absolutely great time and really, really loving all of the engagement. You guys have been absolutely amazing. RC says, brilliant manager, as Glasner is nothing will change with him, as we still have terrible owners with a terrible model and a bad player recruitment. So RC doesn't rate bringing Glasner in and doesn't essentially think that anyone will be able to come in and succeed under our current owners. Mad says Maresca is in the wrong for this, publicly criticising the owners like this. He know what he signed up for. The manager is not bigger than the club. 100% agree with that. I think that's basically what we've just been saying, but you've said it much more succinctly than I did. But no, Mad, I 100% agree with that. The manager is not bigger than the club, and I agree. Daniel Knight says, I said if Enzo Maresca was appointed, I said that if this appointment goes wrong, I say it down to the sporting director. I mean, the truth is, any appointment that goes wrong is down to the sporting director, isn't it, in the grand scheme of things? So, and in the reverse of that, any appointment that goes right is also down to the sporting directors.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. I get what you're saying, but
it's putting your stocks in an unproven manager rather than a proven manager. I suppose that's where it becomes a little bit of a grey area kind of thing.
Yeah.
Rescue in a sense was unproven.
I don't think any proven manager is going to touch our team with the model as it is at the moment. I just think that's not going to happen.
We saw, who turned us down?
Luis Enrique.
And who was the other guy? Bayern Munich.
Oh yeah, Julian Nagelsmann.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's not the
and he was like 30 odd as well. Do you know what I mean? He was literally like part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Interesting one from Omar. Do you guys think the youth movement is working? Sporting directors think it is. Perhaps Maresca isn't 100% with the movement. I think the really difficult thing about this is it's still too early to see results, and that is based on the very nature of what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's almost impossible to bring in a team full of Cole Palmers, and I mean that in terms of everyone in their position being as good as Cole Palmer is. Do you know what I mean? That's the only way you're going to see instant results with this. That's why I'm happy to give them till at least next season to start properly challenging. That's when I'll start questioning it. If I'm completely honest, at this point, I do still think it's too early to say, and I think that Maresca should have been willing to sign up. And at the end of the day, like, I don't know, no, he is being put under pressure at the end of the day, isn't he? But yeah, no, I think that...
Yeah, it's when it's like, here's this young squad, do this, but also we expect you to get Champions League and we expect you to do this. So it's giving him all the pressure, but not giving him all the experience to do it. So it kind of goes in both ways. Kind of, if you're going to give him all the pressure and go, you're getting sacked if you don't achieve this, well, then you need to give him the tools to achieve that. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
The thing is, though, this might have been a cursory conversation about them just keeping their options open, and he's found out about it as well. We don't know the nuance and the detail behind it. Courtney, big up Courtney. This was a little while ago, man. Sorry, I hope you're still here. Big up, guys. Maresca made a lot of mistakes in the game that was questionable to point. I think he is match fixing. Yes, Courtney. Can't say I disagree with that, man. Some of them decisions in that in the Atalanta game in particular were a bit of a nightmare, weren't they? RC, Clown Lake and Maresca first meeting. Hello, Enzo, we're Clear Lake, and if we don't know what we're doing, and we'll bring you in mid players and expect you to perform miracles with them. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of that, but at the same time, it's like it's not all just mid. I resent the idea that we've brought in loads of mid players, because I think you look at Moises Caicedo, Reece James, Marc Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, do you know what I mean, Esteban Willian. I think we've got some really, really top players, man. If anything, it's just about a few finishing touches and solid tactical instruction that we seem to be missing at the moment.
A lot of that we have definitely brought in some mid players in some area. Unfortunately,
Tyson.
It's the same key areas. Like, could we have done with an absolute world beater of a striker? 100%. Would we have done better with one of those? 100%.
Yeah, so that's true.
We've got some key areas where they could have made better decisions and should have made better decisions.
I mean, they've all been gambles, haven't they? That's the honest truth. They've all been gambles, and some of the gambles have paid off, and the gambles that aren't paying off keep being the same ones, and it's normally the attacking ones, isn't it? Omar says, Maresca pulling a page out of Salar's playbook. Topical, love that. I'll see again, because Man City owners are ambitious and want to win. They know they have an elite manager and they give him what they want. Well, yeah, that's a bit different though, isn't it? Because Man City have been built. That Man City didn't just start bringing in elite managers from the off, did they? They started doing that 10, 15 years ago or whatever it was now. And obviously they're here now because they put so much time into it. So like I said, we're still so early in this project. Don't think we can compare ourselves to Man City just yet. RC, let me guess who's on the shortlist. Liam Rosinia, McKenna and Will Still. One of them is actually, forgot about McKenna, that'd be interesting. Okay, got a new guy. Welcome, mate. Kamafia. The directors want him to develop Josh Achiampong before they lose him. That's what the fight is about. interesting. If that is, and to be fair, he keeps playing Tyson when Josh should be getting minutes. So actually, that is a fair shout. That is a fair backing towards the owners there. People forget he wanted Delap. He called Garnacho to tell him to join. He called João Pedro, a striker, in the summer. He wants a centre back, and the directors don't want to lose Josh. So Maresca has had input in some of these signings that have come in, and one of the players that the directors really want him to develop in Josh Hachiampong, I think every Chelsea player can agree, is not happening because Tosin keeps getting minutes. Yoro Hato gets played at centre-back. Do you know what I mean? Almost anything to avoid playing Josh. So that's true. Enrique didn't turn us down. We turned him down. Oh, yeah, no, it was Julian Nagelsmann.
Yeah, it was Nagelsmann.
No, you were right about that. And we did turn down Enrique. I think he wanted to spend too much money. Daniel, Model needs to challenge. We will not win the Premier League title. Courtney, still here. Hit the like button. Yes, guys. Nice one. Loving it. Absolutely smashed the likes today, man. Buzzing about it. And one last one from Karmafia. We now need a miracle to beat Leeds, carried bag, Brentford, Atalanta and Sunderland. How about you coach and win your games you're supposed to? So this is it's a really great shout there from Karmafia.
Yeah.
These games that Maresca isn't winning is not because we don't have a world-class striker. It's not because we don't have a world-class centre-back. We have the tools to beat Leeds, Qarabag, Brentford, Atalanta, Crystal Palace. We have the tools to beat these, and the tools you need are ultimately to make sure you get the wins against the big teams and be consistent throughout the season, but we should be beating these teams with the players we've got, man. I do 100% agree with that. What do you think?
The only one I disagree would be the striker. I think a world-class striker does make a very big difference in a lot of these crappy little games.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only position that I would say does make a massive difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we had an Erling Haaland up front,
yeah,
in these form of Leeds games, I do think that position would make a difference. But a lot of the other ones, not so much.
Right, so guys, we're nearly 2 hours in. We've made it this far, and we're going to get to the shortlist. I teased this at the start. So it is from the Chelsea Chronicle, is the outlet, and it's a clickbaity title. Chelsea hold secret shortlist for Enzo Maresca replacement as Liam Rosinia, Cesc Fabregas, Iraola, and Glasner all considered. So Rosinia of Strasbourg, Fabregas of Como, Iraola of Bournemouth, and Oliver Glasner of Crystal Palace. What do we think?
It's just same, innit?
There's
same
one in
type.
there.
Got just say them again for me.
Liam Rosinia,
Sure.
Cesc Fabregas,
Fab,
Iraola, and Glasner. Out of any of them four, man, I've literally done a video about this recently.
Yeah.
The only manager I'd be happy to see come in right now over Enzo Maresca is Cesc Fabregas.
All those managers on the shortlist are the same as what you're going to get with Maresca.
That's true.
I mean, some of them are a bit more proven because obviously Iriola's been in the Premier League for quite a while now. But if we're looking to go down the route of, again, trusting the process, bringing in someone that's not been at the top level, then I would be more comfortable putting my stocks in Fabregas.
Yeah.
However, I can tell you now who it's going to be.
Glasner.
It's going to be it'll be the guy from Strasbourg.
Oh, Rosinia. Yeah.
I'm telling you now that club, and if there's any Strasbourg fans in here, I'm sorry. That club is basically just going to be a revolving door for players and managers alike. I can see it now because he is doing well for what Strasbourg is, the players that he's got. They have got a manager that will not cost them a lot. That is, like, he's even playing in the way that the club will want.
No, they're not. They are and they're not.
Played out from the back.
They play free at the back though.
Yeah, he's gonna have some slight tactical differences to how Maresca is, but in terms of possession-based football, that's what they want. Like, they're not going to go get a Sean Dyche long ball expert, kind of thing. So I do feel like that would be the route if they're going to go get another manager. Could I see a Glasner come in? You know what? I think Glasner would turn us down.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Do you think Iraola would?
No. I think Glasner will.
Yeah, feel that one out for me. Why do you think Glasner would turn us down, but
Glasner's
Iraola
got his sights on other clubs. I think he's also a little bit wised up in terms of what the ownership and the sporting directors are like.
Yeah, okay.
I think Iraola would snap at the chance of a Chelsea, I think. Because I think he does deserve to go a bit higher than Bournemouth. I don't know. I can see him ending up at Tottenham. Iraola, because I think Frank is on.
Do you reckon Frank's already on thin ice, do you?
I think Frank is on thin ice.
Wow.
It's not Levy anymore, is it? He's not in charge anymore.
Do you not think that, but do you not think that from a perspective of a manager going into Tottenham, you now look at the last 6, 7 managers since Pochettino? Really? Yeah. That's what we're talking about. Every manager since Pochettino has been done dirty at Tottenham, pretty much, haven't they?
But that's the thing, because Levy's not there now. I think you're going to see a little bit of shift. I don't know if they'll do too much, January, because they spent a lot in the summer.
Frank wasn't Levy. They'd already lost Levy before they hired Frank, though, hadn't they? Like the new guys made I think the rest of the board made the decision to hire.
I don't know,
Frank.
man. Like for me, I feel like out of all the managers, he's the one that's on thin ice the most at the moment.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Just watching them the other day, today was like there's something wrong there. But no, I feel like Fabregas for me would be the one that I could get probably behind, and he's definitely going to come in, and he's not going to have to try hard to win the fans over. He's not going to have to try at all. You know, Fabregas is magic. He wears a magic. Like he's coming in with that already.
Do you know, honestly, that is the obvious reason to be excited about Fabregas, but I've actually done research. And I love the idea of Fabregas, but my initial thoughts of Fabregas is it's basically the same as Enzo Maresca again, but there's a couple of differences. So one, Fabregas did an interview with someone talking about the changes and the substitutions that Enzo Maresca was making. And he basically just said all of the right things. So there's already an idea there that Fabregas has basically said in the same situation that Maresca was in when people are getting carded and substitutions have to be made. You remember when instead of putting attackers on, we put like 6 defenders on? He was like, what are you doing that for? Go for the game. It's Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So not even just because he was a player and we love him because he was such a good player, he already understands the difference. Do you know what I mean? When you're managing a team like Chelsea and you still need to go for the win. And you know, he's already spoken on that. So that's one thing. The other thing is what he's done with Como is amazing, by the way. Absolutely incredible. Let me give you a very recent history lesson about Cesc Fabregas and Como. Fabregas was initially, 2 years ago, the assistant manager. They were doing really badly, sacked their manager. He was given the interim job and got them promoted for the first time since 2003. That's the last time that they were in Serie A, was 2003. So 22, nearly 23 years ago was the last time they were in. And Fabregas got them in after their manager got sacked because they looked like they were going down again. Do you know what I mean? So that was really impressive. Gets the full-time job. In his first full season in top flight management, in their first season in top flight in 22 years, they finished 10th in Serie A. They've got no budget. The manager's got no experience. He just goes in and they finish 10th. That, for me, is much more impressive than Maresca getting into the Champions League with Chelsea after being promoted with Leicester, based on the amount of resource and the difference. Yeah. That means Fabregas has gone in and worked with what he's got. He hasn't gone in there and said, I want this guy, give me this guy, I need this guy to play my football. He's gone in there, he said, right, what have we got? Let's do something with it. And he got Como into 10th after not being in Serie A for 22 years. At the time of writing, they're in 6th place right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I suppose you could say the same on the guy from Strasbourg, though, because he took a Strasbourg. It's not like Strasbourg were a dominating thing and they having their players pinched every season by Chelsea, and he got them to Conference League. Yeah. They were doing pretty well this season, where they at one point they were sitting second in the Champions League spot. I think they just missed out on Champions League last year. So that's kind of why I'd lean that's probably the man.
So there's one more thing. There's one more thing. So Fabregas plays attacking, possession-based modern football with one key difference to what we do. He gets his fullbacks to bomb on.
Yeah.
So no more
overlapping fullbacks. They don't want inverted fullbacks, do they?
Yeah, and we've got the players to do that, man. Do you know what I mean? We've got, like, Gusto and Reece James can both play as overlapping fullbacks. Cucurella and Hato can both play as overlapping fullbacks. We've got the players to do that already. And what that ultimately means is he doesn't spend 50 minutes of the game passing it between his centre-backs, which is something that is really difficult to watch as a Chelsea fan, I think. And also, he's good at youth development. Nico Paz, great example. That the Real Madrid lad who's really, really young and done really, really well. So I do understand your argument about Liam Rosenior, though. I think it's basically a straight shootout for those. And I guess the thing that kicks it for me is the Chelsea codedness of Fabregas compared to Rosenior. That's going to be it's not as much as bringing Fabregas in, but it's a lot, isn't it? Like Chelsea, I love Fabregas, man, and I think we do in general. Before we carry on, I'm just going to go for a couple more of the comments. Right, so okay, so starting from when I announced the short list, well, actually a little bit before that. Okay, Daniel says, I don't want any of those managers because they are not Chelsea level. Mad, I actually don't mind the business model now. It brought us Esteval, Palmer, Enzo, Caicedo, Gusto, Omega and Penders. 100% I agree with that, man. I think it's so easy to look at what we don't have and not appreciate what we do have, which is a really, really good crop of players that I think ultimately we should have done more with in the games that we've not gotten the points out of. Canfia, Maresca said he didn't want a 20-goal-a-season striker. He prefers 10 goals from multiple players. Maresca wants this over a target man. Yeah, so if that is Maresca's choice, but at the end of the day, he's not getting 10 goals from everywhere at the moment, is he? Unfortunately,
you can have a 20-goal striker and still have goals across the team. So if that is what he's thinking, then that's just wrong.
It should be both, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Daniel says we've hit 20 likes on the stream. Yes, wicked. We are smashing it today, guys. Man, I should do this more often, man. This is great. Daniel doesn't want any of them. Omar says if they decide to move on from Maresca, they will be dealing with the same issues as Maresca. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that already Fabregas and maybe even Liam Rosenior have better obvious character. I don't see as much like lack of accountability and them coming out in the press moaning about things, and do you know what I mean? So I think the issues we're having with Maresca are quite specific to Maresca. I've never really seen anything like it, like the crazy decisions. Do you know what I mean? Like the flooding the midfield full of fullbacks and leaving Cole Palmer on when he's injured against Man United and you've gone down to 10 men. And do you know what I mean? Six red cards in 7 games. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think these are quite specifically Maresca problems that I've never really seen from any other managers before. Daniel, I am not trust process. I don't want any of them. You know, at the end of the day, this sounds like I'm Maresca out. We're exploring this because I think it's interesting. What I want is for Maresca to stay and sort his life out. Do you know what I mean? I just want him to buck up a bit and stop making these silly mistakes and stop being petulant and petty and be becoming of a Chelsea manager who wants to win titles. He focus on the football, exactly. Canfia, no manager would turn down Reece James, Caicedo, Palmer, Esteval, Enzo, Cucurella, Cole Wilton, Josh.
Did.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Nagelsmann did. Yeah, I think Nagelsmann. Well, what's he even ended up doing? Is he the Germany manager now?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah,
interesting. Daniel, is Enzo Maresca getting sacked? Then don't know. The only thing I've seen about a time frame, and it was from the same thing that this whole Glasner thing came out of in the first place. Apparently, he's got until February. How true that is, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, I think
it will be speculation at the moment and just people trying to stir up pots. But
the next
is what started it, isn't it?
And the next press conference, like you said, Kai, the next press conference will be really telling, won't it?
Yeah.
Canfia, Cesc would have our midfield dominating games rather than seeing our centre-backs touch the ball 100 times per game. And yes, I 100% agree with that. Do you know what I mean? And can you imagine what Cesc Fabregas could do with Enzo Fernandez? That's a nice thought, isn't it? You know, if Cesc Fabregas has got any sort of ability to turn Enzo Fernandez into half the player he was, man, into half because they've got similar attributes, haven't they? Not exactly the same. Enzo Fernandez more physical, I would argue, but in general, and obviously Fabregas had the techers, but I think there's a bit of an overlap, isn't there? There's a bit of a crossover between the types of players that they were.
Yeah.
RC, so that warrants you wanting Fabregas as our manager at club level because he got Como promoted 10th in Serie A. And that's not the only reason. It was basically a combination of all of the reasons I just talked about. But I think when you look at that, that's really, really, really impressive, and it shows a lot of character. At the end of the day, Leicester, when Enzo Maresca got Leicester promoted, he had a Premier League team. Do you know what I mean? Is like the majority of the players in Enzo Maresca's championship team were Premier League players. Do you know what I mean? So for Fabregas to do what he's done with a very, very little budget and definitely more difficult players shows that he's obviously a very good manager and man manager. I think that's really, really impressive. And I'm not saying I want him in over Maresca. I'm saying if we lose Maresca, he would be my top pick out of the four, by the way, just to clarify. Daniel, what formation does Fabregas play at Como? He's the same one we do, basically. It's a 4-2-3-1, but instead of lots of inverting fullbacks getting into the midfield, the centre defensive midfielder, which would be Caicedo in our sense, drops back into to kind of form the back three, and kind of like Liverpool used to do, do you know what I mean? But a bit more possession based. Like Liverpool's Klopp, but a bit less gung-ho, essentially. A bit more passy. Can't fear when managers get what they want and don't win, we'll end up like Manchester United. That is a great point. That's an absolutely brilliant point.
It's great.
Really, really good.
But it's not always the case. Doesn't always. Not every team, because they give the manager what they want, ends up like Man United. Because look at City. They gave Pep what he wanted. Didn't end up like Man United.
They gave Pep what he wanted, though. That's the qualifying factor in that sentence, isn't it?
Yeah. So I get it, and obviously United are now the laughing stock of football, but it's not always going to happen like that. But yeah. So,
and one last one for Daniel. I don't want another yes man. I think the problem with that, Daniel, is that's basically all that's on the table, because the club, we're never getting a Tuchel, a Jose Mourinho, an Antonio Conte, those, and even Pochettino. Do you know what I mean? Even Pochettino, we're not going to get any of those kind of managers ever again for the long term, because any manager that comes in, including Enzo Maresca, who will have agreed to this when he signed up, gets the job is to coach the team. And everything else is handled by the massive team of 6 sporting directors that work above him. That's the model that they've identified. That is the model that, although isn't producing, I mean, I see it's not producing results. We're in Champions League spot. We won 2 trophies last season. We could win trophies this season. And next season, realistically, we could challenge for a title if Maresca stops being a baby. Couple more. Can't fear. No one is Pep. No one has the Pep credit. 100% agreed.
Pep came into City with so much credit in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And one last one from Courtney. Pep praised Maresca the other day. I wonder if he wasn't brief of the pressure Maresca was under. Yeah, probably. I mean, I imagine Maresca and Pep are still mates, aren't they? You know, Arteta and Pep are still mates, aren't they? Like all these kind of assistant managers, the disciples of Pep, they go out, they all maintain reasonably close relationships, don't they? So yeah, man. And like I say, I think the thing for me for all of this is, I'm not saying I want Maresca out. I'm saying I want Maresca to improve, but the difficult thing is we're seeing a lot of areas for improvement at the moment, and unfortunately, he keeps creating new ones. That's the issue. He's not just chipping away at a list of problems that he's getting better at. He'll chip away at a few of them and he'll create a few more. Do you know what I mean? Like, for instance, we flip-flopped so much. Like, there was the whole thing with the Man United game and then a few games where we went down to 10 men and the subs were terrible. Awful. Okay, he looked like he'd learned from his mistake when we played Arsenal and we got the draw. And, you know, some situations like in other, because we've had lots of red cards this season, and it looks like he'd improved. And then all of a sudden, we're playing Atalanta, and when it comes to the subs, at the end of the game, when we're chasing it and we're losing, he throws on fullbacks to go in midfield and puts Gusto in the number 10. That's not learning. That's not development. That's not evolution. That's regression, categorically. Do you know what I mean? So the problem with Maresca at the moment is, if he can't learn from his mistakes, or if his ego won't allow him to learn from his mistakes, if he genuinely believes that the best answer to that game was putting Malo Gusto in the number 10 to chase a goal, then what you're supposed to think, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we mentioned this on the Blue Lounge, like when the Man United game, and we were talking about Maresca's tactical ability, and are we seeing him moving forward? Is progressing? And we said then, like, this is a regression what he's doing, and then we saw a period where he's gotten better, and now it's going back. He needs to sort it out. He does need to sort it out. But yeah, I'm not Maresca out.
No,
I want him to steady and fix whatever's going on. But yeah, if he carries on the way that he's going and the things that he's saying, it's kind of just going to be taken out of his hands, really.
It's the character things that are massive for me, man. Like this thing, honestly, like maybe this just says more about me than anything, but this thing with him taking pot shots at the ownership in the press after a win, when he's been asked about the best player on the pitch for that game, who he's had a massive part in developing, he chooses that moment to take a cheap, petulant little pot shot at the owners. That annoys me more than I'm more annoyed by that than I was by the loss to Atalanta.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because I'm just like, the loss to Atalanta was a tactical thing that you can learn from. This is a personality thing we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And someone said it, I can't remember who it was, but someone said it earlier, man, no one's bigger than the club. Do you know what I mean? No one's bigger than the club. And if you think you are, you're not.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? You're just not.
The door. Yeah.
So a couple of things like is going to happen in it is like, one thing I think, I mentioned this in my video I released today or yesterday, I can't remember, I think it was today. I said, I think Maresca, like what really needs to happen is if the owners aren't looking at sacking Maresca, they need to come out and publicly back him now, instantly.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen that yet. The only thing I have seen is a report saying that the club want Enzo Maresca to ease tensions. So that's not exactly the same thing. Now, I don't know again how true that is. There's going to be loads of speculation going on at the moment. But the truth is, if the manager, if the ownership, aren't genuinely thinking about sacking him at the moment, then the thing they absolutely 100% need to do is come out and say, Maresca's our man. He's not going anywhere. We're happy with the results. We're happy with the squad. He's had lots of challenges this season, and we appreciate that. And we'll look at doing what we can in order to rectify these situations within our financial constraints, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? If they come out and do that, then you know that it's all noise. But if they don't do that, then it all could be true.
Yeah, I think the next couple of days, if we're playing Tuesday, his press conference is probably going to be Tuesday around 12-ish.
It'll be tomorrow morning, won't it?
Could be.
It's Sunday now, isn't it?
Yeah, so it could be Monday. Yeah, it could be Monday 12-ish. So that will be a good tell. I'm guarantee he's going to get pressed by the media tomorrow after the game to get some clarification on his comments, because I guarantee they've been waiting for it.
100%.
So if nothing comes out from the ownership until then, it's going to be interesting to see what Maresca says and how he diffuses the situation, because at the moment, that's what he's going to need to do now, is diffuse it. Or if there is proper stuff going on behind doors and it's sour and it ain't going, he's going to make it even worse come tomorrow, because he's going to say something going to put him in even more hot water. So this next press conference is going to be a good tell.
Yeah, interesting. So Daniel's just said 12 o'clock press conference on Monday. So I'll be waiting with bated breath. I normally try and make my video in the morning, but I might wait until tomorrow to make it, just to see what goes on. So I'm just going to read through a couple of these last comments. We'll have a little look at what people have got to say, and then I think we should probably start thinking about wrapping things up. This has been a wicked one, man. I've had a really, really good time. Absolutely love it. Okay, so yeah. Pep praised Maresca the other day. Okay, the problem is, so this is from Kamfia.
Yeah.
Kamafia, sorry. The problem is, the quicker we develop Josh, Hatter, Esteval, Santos, the closer we'll be to a title. If this is the model, then stop delaying the development and play the kids. I agree with that to an extent, but you can't just chuck them all in they've got then one of the problems with our thing is you need experience around the young people to allow them to develop. The issue that we've had with that is because we're only just getting to the point now where the majority of our first team are getting to the point where the really young players can start to come in and learn from them. So it is, I understand it takes time. Omar headed out. Nice one, Omar. If you've gone already, sorry about that, mate, but thank you very much for sticking around. Always love to have your opinion. Daniel, let's see what he says in the press conference. Absolutely, 100%. Car Mafia, Maresca signed with Jorge Mendes before the slip-up. This has been a tug-of-war over power since the start of the season. This isn't new. That's interesting. Daniel Knight, if we bring in a new manager, will we be starting again? Now, I won't go too deep into this because you can have a whole conversation about this. I don't necessarily think that's true because I'm not sure if I've mentioned it. I think I meant to at some point during this. So the thing that's different now about bringing a new manager in is it's not like it was with Antonio Conte, where we brought in Antonio Conte, we brought loads of players for him, and we struggled to change that team for years because it was so coded in his method. Do you know what I mean? The three at the back and brought in. I think the difference is now is we're not building a team for a manager. We're building a team for a manager to come in and coach. So I think there's more of a disconnect, isn't it? It's like, if we're going to bring in, and it will have been this with Enzo Maresca, they will have looked at Enzo Maresca and said, right, we've got these players. This is his style. Do we like his style? Can he play it with the players that we've got? Yeah. So that's where the match comes up, doesn't it? So I don't think it would be a case of starting again. For instance, if you look at the short list of managers that have come in, at least Rosinia and Fabregas, we know they could come in and manage this team, tactically manage this team. So I don't think it is completely starting again because the philosophies won't be super different. The formations won't be super different. It will mainly just be about...
The only big change you'll see is the next manager that comes in is if there's a new manager, is highly unlikely going to have inverted fullbacks. So that will be one of the things that you'll see straight away will be different because that is a Maresca thing. That's what he loves to do.
Yeah.
But I agree, like the team is built, or they're trying to build it for any manager that is in a similar style in terms of the way that they want to play. And that's why our players are needing to be versatile as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you clocked this ages ago, didn't you, man? You clocked this ages ago. It's a really good shout, actually. I remember it was one of the first streams, one of the really early streams we did together, actually, wasn't it? Where I remember you literally said like the sporting directors are building a team full of versatile players that will suit lots of different managers, and that's true, and that's 100% exactly what we've got. Kamafia, Colwell and Egbali's handshake with De Zerbi after Marseille versus Strasbourg game is more telling than we think. De Zerbi, don't think so. No. Personally, interesting. Why is Egbali shaking hands with anyone? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, interesting. I think we'd have gone for De Zerbi already. If There's
always been a weird love for De Zerbi since Brighton because he was for Brighton, wasn't he? So
I do like him.
I hope not.
He's got character. I like that, but at the same time, not 100% sure. Although he was very good with Moises Caicedo, that's true. Yeah. And lastly, our sporting directors love De Zerbi. De Zerbi fell off with the directors in place after Winstanley left Brighton. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? That is interesting. Getting the band back together.
Him in, and we seem to be doing that, getting everybody that was at Brighton or is still there and bringing them over.
That's the issue, isn't it? It's like Graham Potter did good at Brighton. I'm not sure about De Zerbi, man. I'm not sure about De Zerbi. I think that I've mentioned this before, and it's like Brighton's set up so well that basically any manager that goes in there does, and their current manager's doing really good. They're in top 6, top 7 at the moment. That's just kind of the state of play for Brighton, isn't it? They're set up so well, and this is the thing. I know it's not. I know people hate hearing it. I know Daniel especially always talking about wanting Winstanley out and not being happy with the Brighton guys and stuff. But if we can replicate the Brighton idea at our level, that'd be great. Do you know what I mean? Because honestly, it's really interesting actually, because this thing we're just talking about, that's what Brighton do right now. Like whenever Brighton bring in a new manager, they're not changing their team wholesale and they're not changing their formation and they're not starting again or whatever. They just keep kicking on. Sometimes there's a little bit of a dip.
Like the same ish level. Like they're all finishing in the same-ish place.
Yeah.
They sometimes do a little bit better. They have a bit of spells. They're never pushing high, and that's not what I want for Chelsea, and it's not. But
that's about investment, though, isn't it? Exactly. Do you know what I mean? They buy mid-level players and turn them into well-beaters.
No matter who walks in the door, as long as the profile fits the players that they've got, they should all do the same.
So the base concept of that at Chelsea, if you scale everything up, actually works well. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, if we keep buying Cole Palmers and Moises Caicedos and Enzo Fernandez's and Cucurella's and Estevan Williams, and we can be consistent without all of these issues with mad rotation decisions and stuff. If anything, like, Maresca just needs to keep it more simple, man, doesn't he? That's like I say, that's what it comes down to for me. He overcomplicates things a lot of the time. But like I said, this hasn't been a stream about get Maresca out. I like Maresca in general. He just annoys me when he throws players under the bus and when he does little petulant, petty things like this, like coming out and taking pop shots at the owners in the media instead of focusing on the football, man. It's like, mate, just suck it up, get on with it, and be better next time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, why are you like it's because it was after the first win in 6 games, man. I wanted to just feel really good about this, and I can't because Maresca's come out and made a whole big thing of it. Do you know what I mean? So thanks, Kai, for joining me for my Chelsea therapy session tonight. I've much appreciated. So yeah, I mean, you know, Kamafi has sort of said it perfectly to finish the night off. We just need the right manager. Enzo Maresca could be that manager, but he needs to make some changes. So guys, before we sign off, obviously, I'm Matt, Stanford Sink. If you're all commenting on this, then you're already subscribed. But if you haven't subscribed to Kai's channel, Behind the Dugouts, he also releases football-related content. And I know for a fact is going to be going in January. And over the next few weeks, there's going to be some really good stuff coming out. Then we will probably try and do this a little bit more often because it's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's been good, man. It's been good.
Nice one, guys. Much appreciated. Everyone getting involved tonight. All of the comments, the likes, all of it been absolutely brilliant. We will catch up with you very, very soon. And don't forget the Stanford Sink and Behind the Dugouts. Like, subscribe, give us some love, and we'll be back to do this more often. Nice one, guys. Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.